The television is still talking. Flu cases are climbing again this season. We're asking everyone to take basic precautions. Limit your time in public spaces. Avoid unnecessary gatherings. And please keep warm out there. Girl, are you listening to a word your grandmother is saying? Sable Hart's eyes come off the screen. For a moment, her mind refuses the room. 300 square feet of living room, decorated in a style that died 20 years ago. 4 adults sit shoulder to shoulder on a sagging sofa, with a dark wood frame worn pale at the arms. In the middle of them sits a heavy woman of about 60, white-haired. She glares at Sable, and the loose flesh along her jaw shifts up and down with every breath. Sable doesn't answer. She just looks. This is the scene. Good grandmother, good father, and the good stepmother. All 3 of them sitting in her living room to pry her out of it. Not 2 weeks from now, the world ends. She was in the Eastern Outpost a moment ago, surrounded, the infected coming through the wire. Edna Hart jabs a finger across the coffee table at her. After your mother passed, that woman right there raised you, like her own flesh and blood. And every soul in this family will tell you the same. She is a good woman. Now your brother's getting married, and all he wants is the loan of this apartment. And here you sit, tight-fisted as a landlord. Well, that's what it gets you. Feed an ingrate, and you raise a snake. Mama don't. Delilah Hart says it gently, the way she says everything. Sable isn't ungrateful. She just needs a minute to sit with it. She'll come around. She always comes around, don't you, sweetheart? Edna huffs. Move your things out. Today. Your brother says this place has been rented so long. The furniture's ruined, and he can't bring a bride into a wreck like this. So you'll be covering the new furniture, too. He's your brother. A girl buys her big brother a few things when he marries. That's how it's done. Standing in the middle of all of them, Sable starts to laugh. They want her apartment, and they want her to pay to furnish it for the man taking it. The funnier part is that in her past life, she did exactly that. In her past life, her mother died in a car accident. When Sable was 14, Delilah moved in with her son not long after. And from the outside, she played it perfectly. Always so careful with Sable. Always so attentive. Sable was deep in her rebellious years then, spines out at everyone who came near her. Underneath it, she was starving for something that felt like family. Delilah's softness got in through that gap. Whatever Sable wanted, Delilah was behind it. And so Sable let herself believe she had a mother again. Anything worth having, she handed to the 2 of them. Even when they came for the one apartment her mother had left her, she hesitated for a moment and then said yes. Then the collapse came, and they left her behind. Not once. Again and again. And at the end, to get themselves onto a relief truck, they shoved her out into the street to buy 30 seconds. That was when Sable finally understood what all that gentleness had been for. Family. She was meat on a plate to them from the first day. Bloodsuckers, every one. And the moment she stopped being useful, they set her down and walked away. Not one of them ever thought of her as their own. Standing in her mother's living room now, Sable would like very much to slap herself across the face. The bags of cheap fruit on the old coffee table go into the trash. She drops them in without ceremony, drags a chair around, and sits down facing all 4 of them. Hey! What do you think you're doing? Bret Hart puts down the phone he's been buried in since he arrived. Those are imported. My mom bought them special. She says you love apples. Sable's mouth curls. She loves apples. Funny that she didn't know that about herself. She looks at her good brother without warmth. What gives you a say in this place? Bret meets that stare, and something in his chest goes loose and cold. He can't hold her eyes. There's a flatness in them he has never seen on anyone. More than 10 years alone in the collapse put it there. And it looks at him the way it would look, at a problem already solved. Bret shuts his mouth. Delilah slides in fast. Sweetheart, what's gotten into you? Are you not feeling well? Because if today's a bad day, we can all come back another time. Honestly, nobody wants to rush you. I know you've had it hard. I've always known that, but Brett is your only brother, and her family won't sign off on the wedding unless there's a place downtown. And you know, as well as I do, that money alone doesn't get you downtown anymore. Not with the lottery. I'm asking you as a favor. Help your brother out this once. And when it's your turn, this whole family will put our heads together and find you something of your own. Find what? Earl Hart hasn't spoken until now. He turns on Sable eyes hard. You thought this place was yours. What does a daughter need with an apartment? It goes to your brother. When you marry, your husband buys you one. You don't take from Brett. Sable hears it and can't even find the anger. In her past life, she used to lie awake wondering why he treated her like that when she was his blood. And Brett was only the stepson, because Brett was his blood too. Before he married Sable's mother, he had already married Delilah back home and had a son with her. She was never anything to him. And after the collapse, he stopped bothering to pretend. Sable holds up 2 fingers. 200,000. The whole room stalls. 4 faces, none of them following. Sable. Edna leans forward. What did you just say? This apartment was my mother's separate property before the marriage. Sable's voice doesn't rise. Notarized to me after. My name's on the deed. You want it? Buy it. 200,000 is the family discount. Edna's mouth opens. You'd sell it to us? Is this a joke? And where in God's name would we find that kind of money? Sable lifts the digital watch on her wrist. 5 seconds to decide. After that, I list it. 5. We are your elders. Edna is halfway off the sofa. Don't you dare talk money with your elders. 4. You ungrateful snake. I'll take a hand to you. Sable glances at her once, then counts faster. 3, 2, let's see you try it. Earl comes up out of the sofa with his hand raised. Sable kicks the chair out from under him. He goes down hard onto the floorboards. And she looks at him there without any expression at all. 1. Where'd you find the nerve? Edna is shrieking now, putting hands on your own father. Sable lets the noise go past her. She pulls out her phone and dials. Mr. Reyes, I want to list the apartment. 200,000. The place had been with a management company on a rental contract for years, and Sable couldn't take the keys until she turned 18. That's the only reason it's still standing. You'll take the listing then? Sable glances sideways at the 4 of them and smiles. All right, I'll stop. Delilah is on her feet, hands out. Stop. Don't say another word. We'll take it. Sable, sell it to us. Is this girl serious? 300,000. That's what this place goes for on the open market. 200 is a giveaway, and the city's been choking new housing for years. Residency requirement, then the lottery. This apartment is perfect. Buy it at 200, hold it a while, resell at 3. 100,000 clean. Move. Move now. Sable sees Delilah cave and hangs up, still smiling. Fine. Sell it to them. 200,000 is low, but she can't move a property at market price in the time she has. Time is money. She needs both. The important part is that once they buy it, they'll have nothing left. She puts their liquid cash at somewhere around 200,000. The collapse is under 2 weeks out. The government has been running stockpiling advisories for weeks already. She wants to watch what they manage to stockpile after sinking every dollar they own into this apartment. Her phone chimes at the bank counter half an hour later. $200,000 deposited. Delilah and the rest hand it over, looking like they're passing a kidney. But they hand it over. Mr. Reyes keeps calling Sable's phone the whole time, and that's the only thing keeping Delilah's mouth shut. One wrong word, and the girl sells to the broker instead. The recorder's office is closed this week, Sable says, looking at them. When they're back, I'll go down with you and transfer the title. Oh, don't you worry about that. Delilah's eyes narrow into that sly, cat-like smile of hers. What, sweetheart, you think this family doesn't trust you? The title can wait. I'll let you know when. She sounds generous and unbothered. and Sable knows exactly what she's doing. Delilah doesn't trust her at all. Delilah is guarding against the daughter-in-law who hasn't made it through the door yet. She's afraid Brittany's name ends up on that deed. And as long as the deed still says Sable Hart, Delilah has an excuse to stall. Sable hears all of it and lets her mouth curve. Better and better. Brett cuts in. Sable, we bought it, so get out. Take your garbage with you. All of it. Looking at it makes me sick. I'm bringing my fiancé by later to pick out new furniture. The second his family had to pay for the place, his whole face changed. Brett, honey, where's your sister supposed to go? On notice like that, Delilah soothes. Let her stay a few more days. She's a sensible girl, and I'm sure she'll leave us something toward the upkeep and the new furniture. You're the older one. Be a little generous with her. Mom, Brett snaps. Why are you always on her side? Look at her, money's all she is. Get out. And take that mangy dog out of your room. Next time I see it in here, it's gone. Mangy dog. Sable, who had already stopped spending thought on any of them, comes back to the room all at once. Dog. Kaiser is alive. She doesn't waste another second on them. She's already down the hall. The bedroom door swings open, and 80 pounds of German Shepherd comes off the floor into her chest. Kaiser. Sable gets both arms around him and finds that she's crying. Her Kaiser. Still here. In her past life, Kaiser was a retired working dog, a gift from her mother on Sable's 10th birthday. He read people better than most people did, and after her mother died, he was the one who walked her through the worst of it. Delilah's family never liked him. They tried to get rid of him more than once, and every time Kaiser found his own way back. Then they tried to hand him off to another family, and Sable fought them over it over and over, until Delilah, who had a reputation as a good stepmother to protect, finally let her keep him. He lived shut in Sable's room after that. She'd only moved back into her mother's apartment recently, and Kaiser had space again for the first time in years. He was locked up today because Brett's family was coming. And in her past life, not long after the collapse, Kaiser was old, and one day while she was out looking for food, they ate him. Sable never stopped blaming herself for it. Kaiser, he licks her hand and makes a low sound in his throat. Listen to me. Sable presses her forehead to his. Nothing gets to you this time. Kaiser barks 4 short sounds, like he understood every word. Once he's settled somewhere safe, Sable starts packing. The apartment has been rented out for years, and it shows. But the table and chairs are the ones her mother bought while she was alive. And Sable grew up eating at them, useless now. Full of her mother anyway. Standing in the middle of it, her eyes snag on things. And then a voice goes off inside her skull. Ping Warden System activated. For the next 60 minutes, every object valued above $100 that you relocate converts to 1 cubic meter of storage. Sable goes very still. The cheat. It's here. Countdown. 59 minutes, 59 seconds. She doesn't believe a word of it. She picks the phone up off the table to test it. Ping, cell phone detected. Value $499. Reward 4 cubic meters. 4 cubic meters of empty space opens up behind her eyes. The phone is gone out of her hand between one blink and the next, sitting in that empty space instead. The vault. It's real. She thinks the word phone, and it's back in her palm, exactly the way she thought it would work. She read enough of these novels once. This is the system out of every one of them. Sable takes hold of the cheat and starts feeding it. And inside a minute, she has the pricing rule. What the warden recognizes is the original purchase price. Worn, scratched, taken apart to move. Doesn't matter. She starts hauling and stripping. Ping, gold jewelry detected. Value, $5,800. Reward, 58 cubic meters. Ping, drinking glass detected. Value, $3.90. Ping, wall calendar detected. Value, $1. Ping, side table detected. Value, $36.90. Ping, Mahogany table and chairs detected. Value $2,500. Reward 25 cubic meters. Ping, trash can detected. Value $1.50. Inside 10 minutes, it's all going. Shoes, hats, clothes, pots and pans, paper, pens, cups, the trash can, the laundry basket, the photo albums, the nail clippers, and the heavy things after them. The table, the chairs, the bed. If it moves, Sable takes it. Even the rotten apples Brett's family brought today. She picks them up off the floor and throws them in. Ping, 5 pounds of rotten apples detected. Value 25 cents. Sable hears the number and makes a sound in the back of her throat. Of course, that woman brings cheap, rotten fruit, calls it imported, and opens her mouth to ask for a $300,000 apartment. The whole family is a real piece of work. Not that Sable minds. Every crumb counts. All of it goes. Before long, there's nothing movable left. And she turns to the things that aren't supposed to move. Ping, toilet detected. Value $199. Sable puts her whole weight into getting the toilet up off the floor. Her strength was never small, but set against the body she had after more than 10 years. Clawing through the collapse, this one is weak. She's going to have to start training soon. The toilet comes free. Ping, bathroom sink detected. Value $69. Ping, range hood detected. Value $259. Ping, countertop detected. Value $48. Ping, security door detected. Value $158. If she can take it out, she takes it out. She is not leaving those people a nail. Ping, window glass detected. Value $40. Ping, flooring detected. Value $15. In 1 hour, Sable strips the apartment down. Everything but the walls comes out. The floor is pulled up. The windows and the doors come off their frames. The tile she can't pry loose, she breaks and takes the pieces. Ping, 3 seconds remaining. Sable hears it and remembers one last thing. She's out the door and up onto the railing, twisting the small bulb out of the hallway ceiling. Ping, light bulb detected. Value 50 cents. Time. Total collected 289 cubic meters. Satisfied Sable turns to Kaiser. Let's go. Not long after she's gone, Brett's family arrives with his pregnant fiancé to see the place. Babe, this is us. Brett is talking the whole way up the stairs, right downtown in the school district. 1,100 square feet, 2 units to a floor, and the neighbor's place is empty. So the whole landing is ours. Light all day, best position in the building, and it's 100 yards from your office. The whole crowd of them comes up, loud and pleased with themselves, onto the 3rd floor. At the door, every one of them stops. Wait, the apartment isn't just empty. There are no doors. There are no windows, and the worst of it, they didn't even leave the bulb in the hallway. Brittany takes one look and turns on her heel. Seriously, this is a shell. So that's the plan my family pays to finish it. She's already walking. I'm telling you right now, no renovation, no wedding. And my name goes on that deed. Edna nearly has a stroke on the landing. She wants to call Sable and ask, what in God's name? The girl thinks she's doing. None of them wanted the old furniture. They'd already planned to gut it and start fresh. But you don't take the bones out of a place. They were going to buy some new pieces, that's all. The flooring Sable's mother laid was still good. How did it come to this? They can't reach her. The number is dead. At that hour, Sable is standing outside a shelter built into a tunnel on the far edge of Anvil City. The tunnel was supposed to be a highway through the mountain. Funding ran short, and when the route was redrawn, the project was abandoned where it stood. After the work stopped, the government repurposed the shell as a civil defense shelter. What do you want it for? The leasing agent asks it the way he asks everyone. Starting a business? Mushrooms. Sable says it without looking up. In her past life, she learned that shelters come in 3 kinds. The first is ordinary, the basement of a downtown mall. The parking levels under an apartment tower a hospital's lower floors. Good locations, full utilities, fast to evacuate into, and in a world overrun by the infected, worth nothing at all. Worse than nothing. Crowds gather there, and crowded places fall first. The second kind is the tunnel-type shelter and the hardened bunkers built for actual defense. The purpose-built bunkers matter enormously in the late collapse. More than one stable settlement gets founded on top of one, but Sable can't lease a defense installation, which leaves the tunnels. And a tunnel is exactly what she wants. Quiet, far from any dense population. Large enough, a complete ventilation system already in place, and a heavy steel gate across the mouth. They're easy to lease, too, and the price is nothing. This one runs $200 a year on a 20-year term. 3 years paid up front. $600 for a space about the size of 5 basketball courts. When Sable says she's starting a business, the leasing agent's whole face changes. The look of a man watching someone set money on fire. He nearly blooms with it. There really are that many fools in the world. She only looked at the price. She didn't look at how far out here it is. Try hauling freight to this address. 9.5 out of every 10 people who start a business are fools. He isn't going to point any of that out. A signature is a signature. He takes the money, gets the contract signed, collects his $50 broker's fee, and leaves. Sable watches him go, pleased with himself, and says nothing. She could tell him. She doesn't. More than 10 years in the collapse taught her one thing, before it taught her anything else. Never warn a fool about what's coming. The fool is what's coming. Once he's gone, she takes Kaiser inside. She walks the length of it and back. The ventilation system is intact as advertised. What she doesn't expect is a well already dug, and a run of electrical cable left behind by whoever leased it last. Sable checks the water. Mountain spring. Not tied into the city mains. After the treatment plants go, tap water is finished. This well will carry her. And the cable dead now. But dead cable means someone ran a circuit through here once. Get a generator in, and the whole line comes back. That pulls her mind to the long stretch of barbed wire fencing outside the tunnel mouth. Most of it abandoned. A lot of it collapsed. Repairable then. Repair it and run current through it. The defensive value of this place goes up enormously. She can do that. The voice comes back. Ping Warden System open. Fortify the existing base. Rewards will be issued according to degree of fortification. 15-day countdown begins. Sable's eyes come up. And in the same breath, before she's finished taking in the new directive, it speaks again. Ping War Dog recognized at base. Reward combat capability increased 100-fold. Physical condition increased 100-fold. Sable watches Kaiser change in front of her. He barks once, chest deep. Huh, she says. Building supply market. Sable has the small car her mother left behind, so she can move. She wants to start fortifying, and she wants to start now. She finds a fencing manufacturer and orders 2,000 yards of it. Straight barbed wire and razor wire, both. The razor wire coils onto the existing fence line. Low labor, high return. Wire runs 70 cents a yard. Sable spends $1,400 in a single order. It's a large enough load that the owner sends. One of his own trucks out behind her. She takes them to the edge of the outskirts and has them unload onto a bare patch of ground by the road. Leave it here. I'll get a tow truck out. Sure. She isn't showing anyone where the base is. It's dark by then, which helps. Once the truck is gone, she puts Kaiser on watch and out there with no one for a mile in any direction. She pulls the wire into the vault one bundle at a time. 289 cubic meters. The household goods take up a handful of them. There's room for all of it, and then some. With the ground clear, she drives back to the base with Kaiser. On the way, she decides she needs a storage site. Half an hour later, she's home. Then she starts on the fence. Alone, yard by yard, she coils the new wire onto the old line. Now and then, Kaiser carries a tool over to her in his teeth. One woman and one dog, working from dusk until the sky goes gray. By dawn, all 2,000 yards are on. She wants to hear what it's worth. The instant she finishes the last section, the voice arrives. Ping! Barbed wire fortification recognized. Reward defensive effect increased 100-fold. Sable watches the fence change, where she can see it happen. The line thickens. The barbs go from wire to something with an edge on it. Every blade she paid for throws off a cold shine, and the small spines packed along the strands are suddenly much longer. The thin steel gate at the mouth has become a lifting steel gate. She walks over and puts her shoulder into the mesh. Nothing moves. Working on it, she'd already worked out the weakness. The fence could stop a person, but not a vehicle driven into it, and not a horde coming through in volume. Now 1,000 of the infected could throw themselves at this line, and it would hold. Sable is very satisfied. She wants to buy more and keep going. Something more urgent interrupts. Her stomach turns over. Kaiser is circling her legs, and he circles the way a dog does when he's past waiting. You too, huh? Kaiser barks twice. The two of them ate almost nothing yesterday and worked straight through. They haven't even started on real supplies yet. Then Sable remembers there's still food in the vault. She thinks of the steamed buns she stripped out of the apartment, and a bag of them lands in her hand. Hot enough to steam in the morning air. Still hot. She pulls the refrigerator out, opens it, no power to it for a day and a half, and the inside is still cold. No power, and it holds, which means the space the warden gave her is a sealed space. No heat leaves it. Whatever goes in comes out the way it went in. Sable is delighted, and not only about the buns. It means she can stockpile without a single thought about expiration dates. When she starts laying in food, she can lay in as much as she wants. $300 a month, and I'll need a month up front as deposit. An empty farmhouse on the outskirts. Sable stands in it with Kaiser at her hip. Across from her is a man somewhere in his 40s or 50s named Gus. The highways outside the city are lined with places like this. Old farm properties, abandoned when everyone moved into town. The ones in decent positions get a phone number taped in the window. Sable picked a large one with good road access. On the highway outside her tunnel. She wants it as a staging point. Supplies land here, she moves them out through the vault. It keeps eyes off the base and makes buying easier. No more unloading onto the shoulder of a road, the way she did last night. $400 a month, no deposit. Sable says, 1 month. It's storage. That's not how it works. Then I'll ask the next house. Gus is in front of her before she's turned. Fine, 400. But you don't tear the place up and you're out on the date. No problem. Sable counts out $400 and takes the key. She'll be gone before the date. There's no chance of reaching it. And a deposit is a deposit he'd never hand back. An extra $100 a month is cheaper than that. You can't haggle over a civil defense shelter. She's not giving up the one place she can. With the storage secured, she starts buying. Food first. She splits the order across 10 suppliers, roughly 450-pound sacks of rice from each. 100 tons to start. 100 tons isn't much, really. Any grain wholesaler can move it. 100 tons of rice is 5 meters by 5 by 5. That's all it is. Her vault holds that easily. Just get it delivered. Sable spends a little over $40,000 on rice, enough to eat for several lifetimes. Then 1,000 cases of instant ramen, every flavor on the shelf. Japanese pork bone, braised beef, seafood. Dry noodles, spicy beef, cold mix. If the market carries it, she buys it. After the collapse, even instant ramen becomes a luxury item. Easy to prepare, tastes fine. Carries its own oil and salt, so you're not scavenging for seasoning. It's the best food the collapse has to offer. Ramen runs from $5 a case to over $10. The most common is braised beef, $5.40 for 24 packs. The Japanese pork bone runs higher, about $10 for 30. Call it 7 a case on average. 1,000 cases, $7,000. And if you're buying ramen, you don't skip sausage. Sable buys 200 boxes of the corn sausage and the spicy cartilage sausage she likes, and 100 boxes of jarred pickled greens. The two together come in under $3,000. Once the basics are down, she moves to self-heating meals and pre-cooked meal pouches. Both are effortless. Heat and eat. She works through a dozen different brands and buys out each store's ready stock a case of everything. A case of Taiwanese braised pork. A case of house tofu. A case of Brazilian barbecue. A case of sweet and sour pork. A case of chicken with shiitake. A case of eggplant with minced pork. A case of kung pao chicken. A case of curry chicken. The pouches average 75 cents each. Sable spends over $2,000 at each of a dozen stores. $15,000 in all. Enough that she could eat one meal from it every day until she died. With every staple down and the food question closed for good, Sable feels the first real drop in her shoulders. Full granary first. Everything else after. Without meaning to, she has spent about $70,000 today. She had a little over $30,000 in savings. Half of it rental income from the apartment over the years. The sale brought in $200,000. She's sitting on $170,000, and she hasn't started on anything else. Money goes fast. It has to. Sable's eyes go somewhere deeper. She opens her hand, and a red property deed drops into it. She looks up local private lenders online, unhurried, and dials. Hi, I'd like to take a loan against a property. Sure. 10 tomorrow morning, come into the office and we'll talk. Sable hangs up. She's mortgaging her apartment. This debt gets paid. Twice over. Wait for the gift. Midday the next day, Sable walks out of an old office building downtown. There's another $150,000 in her account. Small private lenders bleed harder than anything with teeth. She sold that apartment to the Harts for $200,000. These people would only give her $150,000, and the interest is obscene. The note she signed is a 7-day repayment. In 7 days, she owes them $200,000. Or they take the property. It's a hole with no bottom, engineered to swallow the whole apartment, which is fine. She has no intention of paying it. She has less intention of keeping a home. The 7-day term is perfect. The collectors will be standing on the Hart family's doorstep with days to spare before the collapse. And then 2 animals will tear at each other in that stairwell. Neither side gives ground easily. No telling who wins. Whoever wins in a few days, that apartment will be so much foam on the tide. $150,000 in her account. Sable looks at the number the lender just wired, and something occurs to her. Why stop at one lender? Borrow. Borrow hard. Borrow from every platform on the market. A run of applications later, she's another $50,000 up. $370,000. Time to buy the next round. With cash in hand, she goes back to the building supply market and keeps fortifying. She picks up 40 or 50 cameras and finds a generator dealer. She needs power. Generators come in wind, hydro, thermal, and diesel. The first 3 aren't practical. Installation is a nightmare. The lead time is brutal, and almost nothing is in stock. You order from a specialist plant. Diesel suits her. What size are you after? The dealer asks. What do you carry? All of it. 35 kilowatt, 200, 800. The 1,000+ units run you a bit more. Sable already knows the shape of diesel generators. The smallest 30 kilowatt runs $1,000 to $2,000. Mid-grade 200 kilowatt runs $5,000 to $10,000. 300 kilowatt is over 10. Every step up roughly doubles. Anything above 1,000 kilowatts starts at $100,000. And imported units run 20 to 30% over domestic. Domestic's fine, honestly. Build quality is every bit as good, runs longer, more practical. And the imports are fussy about fuel grade. What's it for restaurant? That's right. She needs power for lighting inside the shelter and current in the fence. Not so different from a restaurant. But she's buying the most expensive one in the room and the largest. Because the warden scales its rewards to grade. So she needs the best. I want the best you've got. One and done. Sable puts on the face of someone with money to burn and buys the finest generator in the building at $120,000. The dealer's face opens like a flower. Sable has him walk her through the rest of the store. Sound-dampening matte tool bags. A few odd baskets with no value at all. She takes them as filler. He throws it all in without blinking. And at the end, hands over the last 10 liters of diesel he has on site. Sable's eyes sharpen on the cans. You know anyone who'd sell fuel cheaper. Diesel is not easy to buy. Take your ID to a station and every purchase gets logged, a few liters at a time. And most stations won't sell loose at all vehicle tanks only. But a man who sells generators tends to know things. There's a black market in fuel. Small, dark refineries siphon from the majors, quietly buy up offshore product, cook it themselves, and move it out the back. All of it black. Sure enough, the moment she asks, the dealer's expression goes conspiratorial. He draws her aside and hands her a card. You want fuel? Call that number. Say I sent you, and they'll take care of you. 20% under market. Thank you. Sable pockets the card. Trades like these are all wired together. She's turning to leave when the dealer says half to himself. This flu going around. Market's dead. It is, Sable says, and goes. The flu is the collapse announcing itself. Half a month after the outbreak, the infected begin to die. And before anyone has finished burying them, everyone discovers that the people they lost have come back, not as themselves. In her past life, Sable spent these weeks running Brett's wedding. His bride found out she was pregnant right about then, and on top of paying for their furniture and their renovation. Sable was the one shuttling her to appointments. On the day the world ended, she was standing in a hospital corridor with her new sister-in-law waiting on a report. When a scream went up somewhere behind them, she watched it herself. A patient brought in for resuscitation, pronounced laid out in the hallway, and then sitting upright, reaching for the family member beside him. People ran in to pull them apart. Sable watched, and in under 5 minutes, the man who'd been bitten began to change. He came up off the floor shaking. By the time he was standing, he'd gone rigid, and there was no color left anywhere in him. His eyes had turned that gray, clouded gray, no focus in them. Nothing living, only a hunger that made everyone near him step back. His mouth opened, and he went into the crowd that had been holding him down. The whole hospital came apart. It was happening in every corridor at once. Everyone turned inside 5 minutes, and every one of them joined what was already happening. Sable was terrified, but she had a pregnant woman behind her, so she went very calm, picked up something heavy, and put herself between that woman and what was coming down the hall, and got her out. And because she performed so well from the very first hour, the Hart family decided she was capable. And from then on, she carried all of it. Finding supplies, standing watch, every last piece of it, hers. In her past life, Sable used to feel that being needed by them, being able to keep them alive, was enough. Look who she was keeping alive. Not this time. She has the dealer deliver to the drop and calls about the diesel on the drive back. They have stock. Tomorrow. Sable tells them she'll take everything on hand. Whatever they have, all of it. $100,000 straight across. They take a quarter off the price for her. Today's run has cost her nearly $200,000. She strips the delivery out of the drop and moves the generator into the vault. Still room to spare. An hour later, she's back at the base. The generator goes into the last storage bay at the deep end of the tunnel. Ping, 1,000 kilowatt generator detected. Reward generator rendered permanently indestructible. Energy consumption reduced to minimum. Sable stares at it. There's a faint silver cast over the housing now, and the whole unit reads differently. Heavier, harder. Not the machine she bought, and permanently indestructible. In the late collapse, a generator has to be maintained, and in her past life, Sable nursed hers along, as far as it would go. The warden has simply removed the problem. Excellent. Keep going. Next, she mounts the cameras along the fence she wired yesterday. The position of this place is very good. A full ring of old-growth trees stands outside the wire. The highway is half a mile off, and the access road that runs in from it disappears into deep forest after a quarter mile. From outside, there's almost no way to know. A tunnel sits back here, behind a fence. Hard to see at all. Her coverage has no blind spots. With the cameras up, she ties them into the circuit, and the circuit into the generator. And anything living that wanders in here will be on a screen. Cameras and fence come alive together. A dense grid of feeds populates her monitor. And then, ping surveillance system and electrified fence detected. Reward surveillance system upgraded. Optical range increased tenfold. Automatic detection of all living and non-living objects. Electrified fence upgraded. Maximum output, 10,000 volts. Sable stares. The image on the monitor has sharpened. She drags a slider at random, and the resolution is 10 times what it was. She clicks into a feed. The cameras she bought had a 100-yard range at best. She can pull them out to 1,000. She can see the highway through a gap in the trees. Just then, a bird drops toward her fence line. It circles once, finds a perch, a crack a spark, and it falls straight down. Sable watches it land, and something in her face settles. That is a very good improvement. She'd like to see who comes in here now. Touch it, and it's over. Kaiser. Stay off that fence from now on. Understood? RRF. Since the upgrade, Kaiser's body has changed, and something behind his eyes has changed with it. He is more a person every day. Sable rubs his head, pulls dinner out of the refrigerator she took from home, and the two of them eat. Afterward, she goes back to clearing the base. She discovers that clearing gets rewarded too, dredging out the well, for instance, and cutting back the weeds inside the tunnel. Ping well upgrade, recognized. Reward independent mountain spring water source. Ping reduction of weed coverage recognized. Reward high-grade soil. Crop yield increased 100-fold. Growth rate increased 10-fold. Sable takes that in with real enthusiasm. Clean water. Good ground. Her base gets better every day and stronger every day. Those two resources alone guarantee she can grow fruit and vegetables here. She can farm, she can feed herself. She's going to need seed. 10 days go by like that. Under 3 days left. Every one of the past 7 mornings. Sable has run 6 miles around the perimeter of the shelter, building the body back and learning the ground at the same time. She knows the terrain well now. Her tunnel sits nested inside a mountain, and with the shelter as the center. A wire perimeter runs up both slopes to about the midline of each. Where the fence meets the mountain, there's a sheer face. Going around the wire is already hard. Coming over the mountain from the far side, sorry. That's harder than getting here in the first place. The back slope is far steeper than the front, and it's brush and timber the whole way up. A professional climber would struggle into this valley. The one real exposure is fire. Forest fire prevention is a permanent problem and very hard to control, unless Sable clears a full belt of timber for a fire break. But strip the trees, and this place stands naked in front of anyone who passes. She thinks it through properly, then puts her head down and starts clearing dead branches and dry leaf litter. The trees stay. Take the trees, and someone finds her. And in the collapse, the dangerous thing is people. Keeping people out is far more reliable than trying to preempt every disaster people cause. Don't get the order wrong. Besides, wide area forest fire is rare. The woods are damp. Clear the dry leaf and deadfall off the ground. And you've prevented most of it. Working outward from her own perimeter, Sable clears a clean belt. The voice arrives. Ping reduction of fire hazard recognized. Reward cleared area rendered permanently non-combustible. Sable stops where she stands. The cheat is very good in the moments that matter. Her shelter is safer again. With the largest thing on her mind removed, she turns straight to the next. Everywhere she cleans earns something. Everywhere she fortifies raises the defense. Her base is transforming quickly. Her deliveries have been landing in waves these past days. Sable works inside the shelter during daylight and drives to the drop at night. She has the drivers unload into the storage house. There's a large camera over the entrance now, and Kaiser watching it for her. These are still peaceful days. Even unwatched, nobody would bother it. And there is a very serious dog inside. Truck after truck comes in, unloads, and leaves. Sable arrives after dark, pulls it all into the vault, and takes it home. Ping, storage facility at capacity detected. 100 tons of rice, 1,000 cases of ramen, 200 boxes of sausage, 100 boxes of pickles, over 20,000 cans. All of it delivered. All of it stacked in the deep bay at the end of her tunnel. Reward, cold vault. Food stored within remains permanently fresh. The storage door in front of her becomes the kind of door Sable has only seen in bank heist movies. Professional breaching equipment wouldn't get through that slab. It opens on her iris, and nothing else. Inside, everything has sorted itself onto shelves, and that isn't even the point of it. The point is that it never spoils. Nothing expires. Ever. The seed order arrives around the same time. She bought common seed and common seedlings. Nearly every vegetable will start and grow from seed. A few things, sweet potato among them, have to be bought as slips. Seed is cheap. The sweet potato slips especially. Sable finds the largest seed supplier in the region and puts in one very large order. And when she asks the owner a question, he throws in extra slips for free. Fruit trees are different. Buy them finished. The older, the better. Starting fruit trees from scratch eats years and effort, and they fruit late. A 10-year-old nursery tree costs almost nothing. A top-grade 10-year Fuji runs $7 or $8. So Sable buys 10-year stock in volume. Apple, fig, jujube, pear, mulberry, cherry, kumquat, plum, apricot, walnut, chestnut, hazelnut, peach, pomegranate, persimmon, 7 of each. It guarantees something coming ripe in every season of the year. Over 100 trees, and it costs her $600. And about 3,600 square feet of ground, which is the open patch to the right of her tunnel mouth. On the left, she throws up a polytunnel and racks and starts seed. Leafy greens, cucumber, eggplant, carrot, tomato, napa, onion, cabbage, green beans. A lot of vegetables are far easier from transplants, but transplants only give you one season. Next year, there's nothing to plant. So Sable starts from seed on purpose. Potatoes go in as potatoes. Her ground is rich enough now that anything she puts in it will run. She won't have to fight for it. In 10 days, the shelter has changed past recognizing. Inside and out, the whole place has lit up. 3 days left. Sable sets the last tree and starts thinking about what else she needs. If she's going to live self-sufficient out here, she wants poultry and fish. However much ready food she has stacked up, none of it beats fresh. She's been eating out of pouches for days, and something in her keeps coming up short. Buy the birds, buy the fish. Then there's meat whenever she wants it. She's in the car and headed for the farmer's market. Kaiser stays at the drop the way he has been waiting on deliveries. Sable hasn't been into the city in days. And the moment she's inside it, she can feel that something has shifted. Everyone is masked. Everyone is carrying something behind the eyes. If you're buying, buy fast, sweetheart. I'm clearing this out and going home early. Sable is standing in front of a live poultry stall. She looks over the dozen-odd chickens and ducks in the crates. Cocks and hens both, and none of them badly kept. Cut me a price and I'll take all of it. The man's eyes come up. All of it. All of it. Then $1 a pound flat. I sell chicken at $1.50 normally. Ducks $1.10. Done. 26 birds, 6 or 7 pounds each. It costs Sable a little over $190. She has him deliver to the drop and keeps shopping. Working deeper into the market, she starts passing live fish. Something in her stills. There's water at the shelter. She could dig a pond. She clears one stall out, 30-odd fish. Carp crucian, silver carp, grass carp, and 40 pounds of live shrimp. Shrimp is Sable's favorite thing in the world. Stir-fried, sweet and sour, peeled and fried with egg. For the fish, she pays extra to have them packed in an aerated tank and driven out. Same address. Fish and shrimp together, a little over $300. Keep going. She can't buy live cattle or hogs, but she has a vault and a storage bay that keeps everything the way it went in. She finds a pork stall and orders 1,000 pounds of pork and 500 of beef on the spot. It's a big enough order that Sable pushes a little more money across the counter, and the man calls his slaughterhouse supplier there and then and promises delivery same day. Meat runs dearer. It costs her a bit over $4,000 and leaves her sitting on $160,000. She takes another pass through the market, wanting more fresh stock, and finds most of the stalls already packing out. On her way toward the exit, she notices one in the far corner half closed. Live goat kids. Sable moves. She takes the last two at $150. The seller kept them for meat and milk, he says. The market's been so bad, he decided to sell off the herd. The grown animals went first. Only kids left. And Sable has just taken the last pair. Get yourself home once you're done, sweetheart. He pockets the money. That flu's blown up these past 2 days. Better off inside. Sable nods. She knows exactly what it is, which is why she's had the N95s on every time she leaves the base. But the flu isn't what causes it. The flu just spreads far enough and wide enough to leave everyone's immune system on the floor. And when the real thing arrives, the ones already weakened turn on contact. That's the whole reason people believe the flu is the culprit. It took Sable more than 10 years inside the collapse to work that out. And where the virus actually came from, she never learned. There were people back then who said the whole thing was a God's hunting game because the virus didn't only kill. It changed things. She has the seller deliver to the drop, the way she has everything and doesn't linger. Under 3 days now, she has no intention of coming back out. But before she goes, every dollar has to be gone. She can't sit on cash like this and leave it unspent. Sable finds a spot with no eyes on it, pulls the goat kids into the vault, and drives out. She passes a farm supply store on the way and buys every common tool in the building, plus 20 shovels. Most people don't know that a shovel is one of the most effective melee weapons ever made. In wartime, families with no weapons defended themselves with shovels. Find a shovel in a village fight, and it stops being funny. Even the military-issue shovel in service today, with all its extra functions, is a straight modification of a farm tool. And in the collapse, cold weapons beat hot ones. Sable stockpiles shovels, and it's enough to arm this whole period. Then there's the baseball bat. That one hits respectably too. She walks into a large sporting goods store. She takes the best, heaviest bats they have. And while she's in there, she buys out a full run of expedition gear. Flashlights, helmets, body armor, protective pads, tents, protective clothing, tactical kit, everything the outdoor section carries. It comes to a bit over $2,000. The store also stocks trauma accessories, tweezers, shears, hemostatic gauze, thermometers. And it reminds Sable she still owes the pharmacy a visit. Out of the gear store, into the pharmacy, where she loads up on the ordinary things. Cold medicine, hemostatics, fever reducers, vitamins, bandages, alcohol, iodine. She has no interest whatsoever in anything prescription because none of it helps. More than 10 years in the collapse. Cycling through whatever she could find, sorted that question for her permanently. Emergency medicine you keep a little of. You don't need much. Bad health in the collapse is the root of every disaster that follows. By the time she's out of the pharmacy, it's 5 or 6 in the evening. The city's neon comes up. Everything Sable had to prepare is prepared. Food, water, shelter, daily supplies. All of it locked. What's left is upgrades. She has $157,000. So go shopping. Waste it. See it. Buy it. Before the collapse, sit down in the old world one last time and eat something worth eating. So Sable eats at a Michelin-starred restaurant she never dared walk into before. She orders a table's worth. Mushroom soup, garlic pork ribs, pan-seared black cod, crispy skinned chicken garlic prawns, everything she could never stomach the price of once each. The filet and the garlic prawns turn out to be very good, and Sable has the kitchen box up 10 more portions to go. Some of it is for Kaiser. She takes a room upstairs, then goes back down alone into the mall below the hotel. The mall is floor after floor of department stores in every color there is, and more food than any of it. Sable, who is used to lean years, goes to the food court first. Egg tarts still warm. Takoyaki, Hong Kong egg waffles, grilled scallops, fried skewers, fried chicken, fried pork ribs, an Odin counter, ice cream, bubble tea, hard candy. If it exists, it's here. Standing in it, Sable realizes how much there still is that she wants. Mostly it was time and money. None of this ever made it onto a necessary list. It's icing on the cake in peacetime, and after the collapse, it becomes something people tell stories about. But right now, she can buy as much of it as she likes. Eat. She clears one shop, then the next. She walks straight in with a face that manages to be both modest and imperious at once. Finds an employee, says she wants all of it. Pays and has it sent up to her room. Every clerk in every shop stares at her and then starts packing frantically. The bakery first, every loaf, every cheesecake, cream puffs sheet cake, mochi butter rolls, durian milk crepe molten custard buns, osmanthus cakes, sticky rice pastries, butterfly palmiers, all of it bagged and carried upstairs. The Korean fried chicken place next. Sable orders every flavor on the board. Sweet garlic, honey mustard, all of it. Boneless drum wings. The entire shop. At the bubble tea counters, she orders every flavor at every counter. Milk tea, fruit tea, cheese tea, smoothies. She pays, leaves the room number, and is gone before anyone can make it a scene. One circuit of the food court costs her over $20,000. Every shop has $10,000 of stock sitting in it. The only two she decides aren't worth stockpiling are the cold noodle place and the egg tart counter. One of each flavor there, a few $100s at most. $20,000 strips the second and third floors of this mall clean of anything edible. Then she goes down to the supermarket. A supermarket. Obviously, she's walking that. She takes 2 of the large carts and works the floor of what amounts to an enormous warehouse. At the register, her carts are full of variety and nothing else. One of everything. 1 bag of every chip cookie and candy. 1 bottle of every drink, every juice, every soda. Snack sausage roast chicken. Grilled fish. Sushi onigiri bento boxes. None of it skipped. Marinated chicken pork ribs. Whole fish hot pot kits. All set. Toiletries. Face cream. Single-use towels. Wet wipes. and the pads she'd very nearly forgotten about. And since this run is technically about quality of life, she adds appliances, washing machine, vacuum, refrigerator. She'd never have thought about any of it before. Now there's money, and money is for spending. She checks out, pushes both carts to the front, and asks for the manager. Everything in her carts except the appliances, she tells him. She wants the store's entire backstock of all of it. Except Sable has badly underestimated both the inventory and the prices. Her account is empty before she gets through. Even the 2 carts in front of her. $130,000 buys her 1/3. Humiliating. Staples and oil were nothing. Processed goods run several times that. Sable looks at the drained number in her account and decides that what she's ordered will do. Worst case, she'll cook the good things herself out of raw stock later. She leaves the delivery address and asks whether it can go out today. The manager assures her it can. She takes one last look at a supermarket that size, still full, and finds she regrets it. Out on the concourse, she wanders forward to see what else there is. She's only done the food court and the big supermarket on the lower levels. She never made it up to the clothing floors before the money ran out. There's maybe $7 in her account. $7 is enough to walk around on. You don't need money to window shop. She stops at a convenience store first and buys an iced cocoa for $1.40. And then she works her way through the clothing floors, store by store. By the time she's finished the 3rd floor, the cocoa is gone. Somewhere in there, she finds a few things she genuinely likes. How much is the baseball jersey? There's an event on right now, ma'am. 50% off, it's $200. Sable doesn't say anything else. $200. At half price. This is the best mall in the district, and every label in it is a name. It's simply more than she can pay. The second she walks out, empty-handed. Miss Sterling pulls the sales associate aside. Why are you wasting your breath? One look tells you she's a broke nobody who can't afford anything in here. Did you not see her walking 3 floors with her hands empty? People like that don't buy in this store. Learn to read a customer. It'll save you. The associate presses her lips together and says nothing. Sable hears every word of it and keeps walking. You don't survive that long in the collapse by being an idiot. Somebody says a few words and you charge over to argue. Or you get hot and buy the thing just to prove a point. And they win. In the collapse, nobody bothers with proving points. You just end it. She's moving toward the escalators when 2 familiar shapes come into view. A young man and a pregnant woman walking the concourse ahead of her. That would be Bret Hart and his fiancée, the 2 people Sable took for everything they had. Babe, don't get worked up. Bret is trailing her. Buy whatever you want today. Just forgive me. Don't get worked up. Think about the baby. Bret. You've been lying to me this whole time. Brittany doesn't slow down. Your family doesn't own that apartment. You lied to me on purpose. It is ours. Then who are those people at the door today? Collectors. At your door, telling us the apartment belongs to them. Your grandmother is in the hospital because of it. Babe, I swear to God, I don't know what happened. My mom paid Sable $200,000 for it. It's ours. If we can just find her, she'll sign the transfer. That's not what your mother said. Brittany turns on him. Your mother said the apartment was still Sable's, that she was letting you live there, which is why my name couldn't go on it. Now suddenly you bought it, and it can be transferred. Babe. Bret is grabbing at the air. Look, it's going to be ours in the end. I'm the only son. Everything in that family comes to me. What's mine is yours. Just trust me. Trust you. How? Her voice is climbing. First you told me it was fully furnished walk-in with a suitcase. Then it's a shell with no doors. Then you told me it was your family's property. And now there are collectors on the stairs. Seriously, I see what your family is now. I'm done. I don't want this baby. I'm going to go end the pregnancy right now. Babe. Babe. Sable stands in the turn of the corridor, listening to all of it, and her mouth curves without permission. Beautiful. genuinely beautiful. 10 days, and the Harts have already performed this well. Grandmother in a hospital bed. But it can go further. She looks at Brett braced on the escalator rail, chasing after his fiancé, and puts 2 fingers to her lips and whistles at him. Brett, halfway out of his mind, turns his head at the sound and catches a woman leaning back against the glass balustrade, watching the pair of them at her leisure. That's Sable Hart. He stops dead. He starts to turn back toward her, and his fiancé reaches the bottom of the escalator and is gone. Babe, babe. One direction the woman going to end his pregnancy. The other direction, Sable. Brett would very much like to be 2 people. He weighs it for a second and goes after Sable, because if he can get his hands on this piece of trash and drag her in front of Brittany to explain, that fixes everything. He wheels around and runs up a descending escalator after her. Sable's pace never changes. When Brett reaches her floor, she has already crossed to the opposite escalator, which forces him to run a full lap of the mall behind her. He follows her all the way down into the underground parking level. You piece of trash. Where do you think you're running? Brett is heaving for air by the time he corners her at the far end of the garage. Lying to me behind my back? Let's see what happens now that I've got you. Good timing. Sable smiles at him and reaches back to close her trunk. I was thinking the same thing. There's a baseball bat in her hand. Brett looks at the bat, and every alarm he owns goes off at once. You wouldn't. He doesn't finish it. Sable steps in. The first thing she takes is his jaw, and after that, he cannot form a word. Then she walks him into the corner of the garage and goes to work. More than 10 years inside the collapse taught her every way there is. 3 strikes and a grown man is finished. She is being enormously generous with Brett. She keeps him in that corner for over half an hour. Both arms, both legs. She works exclusively on the places that will hurt him for months, and she is careful the entire time not to end him. Half an hour later, Brett is flat on the concrete, breathing in shallow pulls. Sable leans back against the car door beside him and nudges his legs with her toe. Then she crouches, takes his phone out of his pocket, sets 1 foot on the side of his head, and dials 911. See how good I'm being. I even called for you. Say thank you. Brett nearly has a stroke on the floor. If she would lift her foot off his skull for 1 second, he would accept her generosity. He gets out something obscene about her mother. Well, if that's the thanks I get, you can go rest up in the hospital with your grandmother. Sable puts a little more weight through her heel, and Brett stops being present for the next 7 days. She works the scene. She takes every piece of ID off him so that when the hospital calls it in, no one can tell the police who he is. While she's there, she takes the money, moves every dollar out of his Venmo and his Cash App into her own phone. His phone unlocks on a fingerprint. She uses his. Then she moves him out of the garage and onto the bar district a block over. The address she gave 911 was that block. The units arrive not long after. Sable watches them load him up like any other pedestrian on the street. She stands under a streetlight, unhurried, and texts his parents from his phone. Says he's been jumped. Tells them to come find him at the hospital. Then she sells Brett's phone to a little repair shop on the corner. Even if they file a report, 3 days isn't enough to get anywhere near her. And by the time they trace Brett's movements and realize she's in them, the collapse will be here. Straightening Brett out puts $3,000 in her account. Sable spends it on more supplies, buys a few shelving units off a convenience store outside the mall, and loads them into her car. She's about to pull out when something hits her door, hard enough to rock the frame. A man is draped across the hood. Sable's eyes drop. A cluster of well-dressed men and women comes over and peels him off. Sorry about that, gorgeous. Our buddies had a few. One of them, arms covered in ink, waves an apology at her. They haul the unconscious man upright and move off laughing. 2 drinks and he's out cold. This is the guy who says he can hold his liquor. He used to drink like a fish, though. Marriage'll do that to a man. That's the truth. The laughter comes in waves down the street. Sable rests one hand on the doorframe and watches them go. Her eyes stay on the young man being carried in the middle. His head hangs. His whole body has gone rigid, and the hands his friends are holding up are drained of color, in a way that hands do not go. But before long, the young man comes around. What happened to me? What happened? You went down, is what happened. You're pathetic, man. How much did you even have? Work stress, probably. I'm going home. Home nothing. Keep drinking. Nobody leaves sober tonight. They go. Still talking, still laughing. Sable's eyes have gone very dark. She looks down and checks the time on her phone. Today is the 9th. In her past life, the virus broke on the 11th. The 11th of August, 0 day. She drives back to the hotel. There's a wall of packages outside her door. She says hello to the front desk, has someone come up and help her move it inside, and shuts the door. Every surface in the room, the table and the bed, both is buried, including a great deal of fried chicken still hot. Sable lifts a hand and pulls it in piece by piece. Sleep here tonight, leave in the morning. No sense wasting what she paid for. Before bed, she trains for over 3 hours until her body is past the point of arguing and well past its limit. And then she showers, checks the camera feeds at the shelter and the drop, and gets ready to sleep. Both sites are clean. She talks to Kaiser through the pet camera for a minute, tells him to watch the stock, tells him she'll be back in the morning. Kaiser answers like something closer to a person than a dog, then settles into his bed in the storage house and keeps watch. Sable sleeps until 6 the next morning. Sirens wake her. She's in a downtown hotel with very good soundproofing. She's simply a light sleeper. The smallest sound is enough. By the second wave of sirens, she's already at the window. She pulls the curtain and looks down, and the street is full of units and officers. Not far from the hotel is the strip of bars and clubs where the crowds are, and every one of those units is going in and out of those doors. She watches a squad car parked outside the bar she stood in front of last night, and people carried out of it. Something in her goes cold and certain. Footsteps come fast down the hallway outside, and then a hard run of knocking. Sable picks up a shovel with one hand and goes to the door. She checks the peephole first. Hotel staff. The woman's face is tight, but there's no wound anywhere on her, and no stain on her uniform. Her color is normal. What is it? Good morning, ma'am. I'm with guest services. We've had a number of reports of guests collapsing. Can you confirm you're all right? Sable answers through the door. I'm fine. Then would you stay in your room a little longer, please? The hotel will waive your late checkout. Sorry to disturb you. The woman moves to the next door. Every nerve Sable has is live now. The collapse may already have started. Get out. She grabs her keys, and on the way, she strips the room of the complimentary water and every toiletry in it. Opening her door, she catches sight of the same staff member down at the last room on the corridor. She knocks several times, then simply keys herself in. By the time Sable sees it, she's already inside. A moment later, Sable hears her voice come up sharp. Sir? Sir, what's wrong? 809, we have a guest down. I need people up here now. The woman is calling it in on her radio. Sable strides for the elevators, and as she steps into an empty car going down, the car beside hers opens on its way up. Staff spill out of it and move fast down the corridor toward that last room. The doors close in front of Sable, and through them, she hears a scream go up and cut off short. She knows that voice. The virus is early. Sable watches the numbers fall and hits 5. She isn't going through the lobby. This building is a hotel, stacked on a mall. Floors 2 through 5 above ground are all retail, the same floors she walked yesterday. It's 6 in the morning. The mall is shut. The earliest staff won't be in before 8, which makes the retail floors the only genuinely empty space in this building. The most dangerous thing in a world of the infected is a crowd. Get away from the crowd. So Sable gets out on 5. It's exactly what she expected. The 5th floor is black. Not a single light. But standing in the atrium, she can hear the street through the glass. And what she hears is screaming. She looks out the window, and the street below has come apart. She watches a man covered in dark stains come out of the bar on the next block at a dead run and go straight at a woman jogging past. He takes her at the waist and puts her down. And then he doesn't get up again. The woman's scream climbs and doesn't stop and doesn't change anything. From 5 floors up, Sable can't make out detail and doesn't need to. She can read the shape of it. And the shape of it is an animal feeding. At 7 in the morning, the city is thin. There's nobody down there but police. A squad car brakes hard, and 2 officers drag the man off her. And the woman they've just saved lies where she is in the wet. And while nobody is watching her, her hands and feet begin to shake. The shaking speeds up, doubles again, and stops. Ma'am, can you? The scream that answers him doesn't belong to a person. She opens her eyes on nothing at all gray and clouded and takes the officer bending over her. The street goes to pieces. Sable watches all of it from a 5th floor window. This is the collapse. Early then, a day early. Welcome to the end of the world. She turns back into the floor. The plan is the service escalators down to B2 and the car, avoiding every elevator in the building, and running into a dead, unlit mall. The sheer amount of merchandise on every side of her registers all at once. Supplies. Walk past a vault, walk out empty. She's leaving, but she's taking every last thing in here with her. Right then, the voice comes back. Ping Warden System activated. 2-hour limit. Every $1,000 in collected goods converts to 1 cubic meter of carried storage. Sable standing there with a baseball bat in her hand. You absolute saint. Glass goes in with 1 swing. Sable is through it with both arms wide. And anything she touches stops existing in the air and starts existing in the vault. She does not spend 1 second wondering about the cameras, because there is no point. It's the collapse. Nobody on this earth is ever reviewing security footage for shoplifting again. Ping, 279 units of women's apparel detected. Value $65,000. Reward, 65 cubic meters. Ping, 144 units of men's apparel detected. Value, $58,000. Reward, 58 cubic meters. Ping, 489 designer wedding gowns detected. Value, $189,000. Reward, 189 cubic meters. Women's wear, men's wear, kids wear, lingerie, shoes, socks, handbags, wedding gowns, formal wear. Sable wants every piece of it. And stripping this place is a very different feeling from stripping her own apartment. Her own apartment, however thoroughly she took it apart, only ever had so much in it. This is a different order of thing. Every store on this floor is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Some of them, hundreds. One after another emptied. Wherever she passes, she leaves exactly as much behind as she wants to leave. Inside an hour, she has stripped every luxury store on these levels. Nothing gets to stay. Women's wear, men's wear, kids wear, activewear, shoes and socks, watches and bags, cosmetics. The big jewelry houses on the lower floor, the diamonds and the gold in them. Apple phones, Apple laptops, pulled. The cosmetics counters she could never afford to stand at. SK2, the Estee Lauder Serum La Mer, pulled. The designer handbags she used to look at through glass. Every piece in backstock. Pulled. The rings, the loose stones, the emeralds, and the heavy gold that has been throwing light in those cases since before she was born. pulled. Her vault crosses 10,000 cubic meters. The goods in these houses are expensive, but the inventory is thin. A bag runs several $1,000s, and there are 4 of them in the building. Most luxury boutiques carry floor pieces and nothing more. A customer orders, the piece gets transferred in because the value is too high to warehouse. This mall doesn't carry the truly high end. Nothing over $100,000. If it did, her vault would have gone somewhere absurd. Real luxury is genuinely worth something. She comes down to the food levels. She swept the food court yesterday. Yesterday, it looked like she was setting money on fire. What she actually bought was time, and time is the only thing that matters this morning. The virus has just broken. Everyone in the city is still standing in the middle of the room, not understanding. She has to be finished inside her 2 hours and out of downtown before the roads seize. If she hadn't spent that money yesterday, she'd be walking past all of these small, scattered stalls right now, with nothing to do about it. Even so, she takes a few things on the way through. A deck oven, a soft-serve machine, an espresso machine, all of it toward cooking properly at home later. She moves through the lower levels at a dead run and comes to the supermarket she walked yesterday. Yesterday, she spent over $100,000 in here and bought the visible tip of it. What's in this building doesn't have a number. Sable goes over the barrier, drops onto the floor, and starts taking it as fast as she can move. All she has to do is touch a shelf. Shelf, shelf, shelf. Gone, gone, gone. A run of chocolate, a run of cookies, a run of chips, a run of snack sausage. From the fresh section, she goes straight through into the back kitchen. A chest freezer of smoked ham hocks. A chest freezer of rotisserie chickens frozen down. Everything she stood in front of yesterday and couldn't afford. She takes now and takes cleanly. Inside half an hour, the entire warehouse-sized store is empty. Then she finds the roller skates and puts them on. 1 line forward, 1 line cleared. When the floor is done, she has 20 minutes left. That's when she notices the service elevator. A store this size keeps its own warehouse. Sable takes the staff car. The doors open, and what's in front of her is rows of pallets standing in ranks. Hundreds of cases of premium rice. Hundreds of cases of imported snacks. Hundreds of cases of liquor seasoning household goods pads. This is the backstock, and this is where Sable finally understands that the hundreds of thousands of dollars she spent yesterday was nothing at all. There is so much more. She skates the rows. Where she goes, nothing is left standing. When the warden's 2 hours run out, Sable is soaked through. She cracks a Coke and drinks the whole thing without stopping. And the warehouse in front of her is bare concrete. Total haul, over 14,800 cubic meters. Small if you want it small, about 25 meters on a side. Large if you look at it properly, near enough a 10-story building. Everything she swept out of the biggest mall in Anvil City occupies 1% of it. It doesn't fill a single basement level. And the biggest mall in Anvil City is empty. All of it is inside her. Sable smiles at that. She changes back into her sneakers, throws the empty bottle into the bare warehouse, takes the service elevator down to the store floor, and goes the rest of the way on the staff stairs. Done. Home. She doesn't ride the elevator. She calls it to her floor and sends it to B2 anyway. It descends alongside her in rhythm. Because elevators announce themselves. And if there's anything waiting in that garage, it will go to the elevator. Safe. Sable moves down the staff stairwell, light and fast, and drops the last flight. She reaches B2 exactly as the car she sent arrives. Ding! At the sound, Sable sees a woman who had been running for the staff door turn on her heel and run for the passenger elevator instead. She's screaming the whole way. "Help me!" Behind her come 2 figures in the same store uniform, both of them wet to the elbows. "Not me! Go the other way. There's someone over there. Take her instead. The woman sees the elevator doors standing open, like a hand reaching down for her, and throws herself in, meaning to shove whoever's inside out into the gap. The car is empty. In the half second she takes to understand that, the two behind her put her on the floor. Don't do this. Look at me, look at my face. I'm your manager. I'm Miss Sterling. Don't. She is still saying it when the staff door she came through opens again. A young woman in plain athletic clothes steps out. Miss Sterling stops. That face is familiar. Isn't that the girl she called a broke nobody yesterday? Help me. She gets an arm up and waves it. Help me, I'll comp you the store card. The VIP card. The whole thing. No, an outfit. Take an outfit. Take 10. Take 100. Please. Sable stands there with the baseball bat in one hand, and the only thing she can find to do is say thank you. Then while the sound behind her climbs, she leaves. Thank you. She turned out to be worth something at the end, after all. Sable puts her foot down and comes out of the garage at speed. Past 8 now. The city is waking up because it broke at dawn. Every person in Anvil City has spent the last 2 hours inside the same fog. The first to go were the ones who start early. Breakfast vendors, sanitation crews, public transit, anything open 24 hours. Open ground where people gather in numbers. Once it turns there, it turns all at once. By this morning, 911 was jammed solid. Everyone who called after that got nothing. Every functioning arm of the city is already paralyzed. Then it reaches the office workers. Malls like the one Sable just left, opening for the day. The lucky ones are the ones who take transit. Most of them are stranded there, are no buses. The unlucky ones are the ones who got on a bus. Boarding was the beginning of it. An elderly passenger goes down somewhere near the back, and when they get up again, nobody on that bus has anywhere to go. And a few lucky ones make it to work. Miss Sterling was one of them. They drive or they take a scooter, and the whole commute is clean. And they arrive to find the doors locked. So they stand around in 3s and 4s, talking about it, curious, until they notice someone coming toward them down the sidewalk, staggering, soaked to the collar. This is how the collapse starts. Because when you see that, all you think is that the man's been in a fight, or that something's happened to him, and someone kind walks over to help. And then it isn't a question anymore. It is happening on every block in this city. All of it going down. Sable knows this is the opening. There are still enormous numbers of people who haven't left their homes yet. Right now, while nobody has caught up to what this is, right now is the only good moment to leave. Once the exodus starts, the whole road system locks. Please. A young woman steps into the road ahead of Sable, with both arms out on the shoulder behind her. Her boyfriend is holding up an elderly woman who's gone down. Stop! She's collapsed. Please. She needs a hospital. Please, stop. Sable's car is the only vehicle on this road. God knows why the streets are bare today. Why 911 rings out. And here, finally, is a car. Stop it. So she stands in the middle of the lane. Sable looks at her, and her foot goes down. The woman in the road watches a car come at her at full speed, with no suggestion anywhere in it of slowing. And she gets herself sideways at the last possible instant. If she hadn't, that would have been the end of it. What is wrong with her? She's shaking. Fine don't help, but she tried to run me down. Insane. Cold-blooded. Selfish. Heartless. Psycho. Babe, are you okay? I have never seen anyone like that in my life. She didn't stop. She didn't even slow down. She almost hit me. You shouldn't be standing in the road either. Come on. There's a lot of selfish people out here. Not everybody's like us. You know what? Take a picture, put her online. Let people see what she... He doesn't finish the sentence. Something takes him at the neck. It's the elderly woman he was holding up. She's awake, and her eyes have gone gray and clouded. And she has him. The spray goes across the sidewalk. Babe, His wife backs up 2 full steps, then comes in swinging her handbag at the old woman's head. Let go of him. Let go of him. She keeps hitting, and the instant the grip loosens, she drags her husband out of it. Babe, hospital, we're going. You're okay. She has his weight on her shoulder, and she's moving. And behind them, the old woman is standing up off the pavement, and she starts to understand that none of the hitting mattered at all. Worse than that, the old woman's arms and legs are folding in directions that arms and legs don't fold. That colorless old face, those clouded eyes fixed on the two of them, that toothless mouth open wide and dark. Exactly like the ones on TV. Only now, is she afraid? Is that actually... Then the person beside her puts her on the ground, and her husband takes her at the throat. Babe, it's me. The two of them come down over her together, and after that, she isn't able to say anything else. The last thing she sees is a car, already small, already gone. The one that didn't stop. Sable watches her go down in the rear view, holds it for exactly 1 second, and takes her eyes back. Kindness. Warmth. Sorry. Those are things heaven has. This is the other place. She drives. The road gets worse the further she goes. Vehicles and people are streaming past her in the opposite direction now. All of them running. At the intersection ahead, several cars lie on their sides, blocking more than half the lanes. And coming past them, Sable sees a crowd gathered at the open doors of a bus with smoke coming off it, working on the driver and on the people still in their seats. The screaming comes in waves and doesn't stop. They feel her go by, and something in them registers her as new, and a section of that crowd peels off after her car. Everything alive and moving is the same thing to them. The whole intersection has come apart. Sable frowns. There's something wrong with this road. Why are there this many? And then she sees the enormous red cross ahead of her, a hospital. She'd been wondering why it detonated so hard along this stretch. There's a hospital. She takes the car through a dozen of them and gets clear. A hospital is the worst hit ground there is. Past its radius, it's survivable. The ones pouring out of every entrance on the left see her coming against the flow, and a great many of them come. A woman in a nurse's uniform is fastest. She takes the left railing down and comes onto the hood. A print goes across the windshield. She opens her mouth against the glass and starts working at it, and at that distance, Sable can see her clearly. Half of her face is still the face she put on this morning. Sable can see the shine of the gloss on her lip. The other half isn't a face anymore, and Sable doesn't look at it. Whatever the nurse is doing with her throat has no words in it. She can't get through the glass, and something in her runs out of patience. She brings her whole body down onto the windshield again and again. Brakes. Sable puts the car through a full turn on the spot, clean and unhurried and beautiful. And the nurse goes off the hood and into the road. And the turn takes her out from under a second wave closing from both sides. The infected don't frighten her. She's put down more of them than she could count. Her foot goes down again, and the car roars forward, out of the hospital's reach. She's crossing one more intersection, the last one almost out, and something enormous lets go behind her. An 18-wheeler loses its trailer, takes a compact car ahead of it, and comes around into the intersection she has to pass through. There is no version of this where she avoids it. The impact. Glass. The sound a vehicle makes going over. Sable's head snaps forward into the airbag, and then it's quiet. And in the middle of a major intersection, an overturned freight truck is lying across 7 or 8 cars, closing it completely. Her car has come to rest under the truck's tire, with about 4 inches to spare. She got everything she had out of that swerve. Her skull is ringing. She bats the airbag down and goes to drive on. Click. The car is finished. Sable never considered buying a vehicle before. Time was short, money was tight, and in the late collapse, she almost never used one. Because there are cars. there is no fuel. Late in the collapse, gasoline is scarce and needed for a dozen things, and putting it in a car is an extravagance. She walked short distances. She used modified bicycles for medium ones. For long ones, she didn't go. You'd have to be out of your mind to travel that far. In the collapse, you don't get to be casual. Moving around at random is a way of asking for it. So a fuel-hungry vehicle was never a necessary investment. Now, the car is dead, and the dead car has drawn her a new road. The sound outside is getting closer. Sable sits still and rubs her head, and when it clears, she takes a slow look at everything around the car, unclips the belt, and opens the door. A shovel arrives in her hand as it swings. Against the infected, a knife is nothing. The blade is too thin, and the face of it is too narrow. And once it's in, it doesn't come out. A shovel is a different proposition. She brings it down, and the old one coming at her stops coming. Then a boot and a shift of weight. The shovel head goes the rest of the way in, and the line from that body to whatever was still running it is cut. Now it's gone properly. Sable turns the shovel over in her hand, faintly disappointed, and moves on. It's still early. There are no cores in their heads yet, which means she can be quicker about this and less careful. She picks the thinnest stretch she can find and works down it. One woman, one shovel, walking and clearing, until the whole far end of the crash site is open road. They've mostly gathered at the front of the wreck, where the smell is. Sable is fast and decisive, and more importantly, quiet. With the numbers still low, she gets out of the crash site without trouble. She's about to clear the intersection when something goes in beside her, and someone still alive inside it screams. An expensive sports car. She's putting them down. The girl in the passenger seat has both hands on her boyfriend's arm, staring out at Sable working in the open. Sable looks in at them once. That airbag has deployed too. She takes her eyes back. A useless car, as useless as the two people sitting in it. She keeps moving. Find a vehicle. And if there's no vehicle, get out of the city on foot and fast. Behind her, the door of the sports car opens. Can you take us with you? The young man in the driver's seat is out and deciding fast. Get us somewhere safe and I'll pay you. My father's the chairman of the Dunbar Group. My family has money. Name a number. Any number. Sable doesn't so much as turn her head. Babe, what are you doing? Why are you talking to her? She's been putting people down out there. A lot of people. We need to call this in. Shut up. He watches Sable's back not turn, grabs the woman's wrist and pulls her after it. Thud. 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 5 more and Sable is finally out of the hospital's radius. A narrow lane in a residential district, because most people are shut in their apartments. It hasn't gone up at scale here yet. She works along the empty margins, the green belt, and the service strips. And now and then there's a sanitation worker or a morning jogger. And each of those is one swing. She walks and she looks for a vehicle. Her luck is poor. There isn't one, and there are 2 small tails behind her. Babe, this road is impossible. I can't walk in these. Then don't. His patience is gone. Get lost. The woman's face floods with it, and she reaches for the thing that has always worked. The small, soft voice. Babe, today, it does nothing at all. What did I ever see in you? You can't do one single thing and you hang off me the whole way. If you want to crash and burn, don't take me with you. Get lost. Her beautiful face goes stiff. She bites her lip and she looks at the woman ahead with the shovel and at the man walking away from her to follow that woman, and she says nothing more. Then she limps after them in her heels. Sable cuts her way through the last of the green belt, and there it is. A box truck standing outside a convenience store with its doors hanging open. A vehicle. If there hadn't been one, the plan was a dealership lot. She runs for it without a word, and the pair behind her run too. Up close, the keys are still in it. Doors open, cab empty. She glances at the store behind it, also empty. Nobody inside. A wide, dark spray across the floor behind the register. So this place didn't get out either. Someone turned in here and the rest went through the door. She pulls the keys. Then, on the principle that she does not leave anywhere empty-handed, she goes in. 30 seconds now. 100 times the time and the risk to get the same goods later. The age of the infected is not a few seconds long. It's the rest of it. After she's gone, this only gets worse. Nobody has ever complained about having too many supplies. Sable decides it in the time it takes to turn and takes the store. By the time the two tails come through the door, everything except the display by the register is gone. She doesn't need to work shelf by shelf here. The floor is small. 2 laps and the whole building is inside her, top to bottom. Candy, snacks, household goods, and the things Sable actually likes. Onigiri grab-and-go sushi bento boxes, bread cake ice cream, every drink in the cooler. Did this place just open? The woman comes in breathing hard and finds nothing on the shelves. Sable knows exactly who is behind her. So on the way out, she makes a show of carrying 2 cases of water in her arms and loading them into the truck where they can watch. Hey, you didn't pay for that, and now you're taking it. What are the rest of us supposed to eat? Her question earns her one thing from the man beside her. Are you out of your mind? Having said it, he goes after Sable. Miss, can you take me with you? Vandermeer Estates, West Side. Get me there and I'll pay you. $100,000. Sable steps up into the cab and pulls the door shut. And this one, she finds interesting enough to answer. You think money still works. Everything goes out of his face. Money is worth nothing now. Nothing at all. He stands there and watches her start the truck and take it out onto the road. Babe, look at her. She wouldn't even take what you offered. You could say anything and she wouldn't care. We should report her. We should. You idiot. He's shouting into the empty street. Do you think there's a police force? Do you think there's money? 40 minutes later, Sable is out of the city and running the outskirts. Once the density falls away, so does everything on the road. Out here, for now, it looks like nothing has happened at all. She brakes in front of her storage house. Kaiser has her before she's out of the cab. Barking, whole body going. Sable gets a hand on his head. You did well. Then she takes Kaiser and everything stacked in the building. All of it from yesterday. The farmer's market, the supermarket. She lifts a hand and the whole floor empties into the vault. Her vault holds the chickens and the ducks and the goat kids she bought yesterday, which makes her wonder. She tries to put Kaiser in, but he barks at her still solidly on the concrete. He won't go. Looking at that Sable can make a rough guess. It takes living things below a certain intelligence. Things with food attached to them. Not a dog, so certainly not a person. She isn't especially disappointed. What she has is already enormous, because from the first day to the last, Sable has believed that her own capability is the only real strength there is. You don't lean your weight on a cheat. You borrow from it to build yourself. And then what you built is yours. Otherwise, the day the system goes quiet is the day she's finished. With the building empty, she pulls the door shut, takes Kaiser, and goes. Straight to the shelter, back to the place she built for exactly this. An hour later, Sable is lying back in the absurdly soft rattan sofa she took out of the mall with a Coke open, the steak and prawns from the Michelin kitchen coming out of the microwave, and the big television on. One woman and one dog watching the news. We're interrupting with a bulletin, an emergency bulletin. Early this morning, a large-scale incident involving bloodshed and injury occurred downtown. We go now to our reporters at the scene. Out in the live feed, a field reporter follows, his camera operator toward a hard cordon. And in his frame, it's the block beside the hotel Sable walked out of at 6 o'clock this morning. The bar district is behind a long line of tape. Inside the line, officers are working smoke canisters into the crowd, trying to break it up, trying to get control of the riot, and having almost no effect at all. Inside the smoke, there are people packed against people, and the screaming doesn't stop. Vehicles all around, some rolled, some crushed flat. Even the ambulances are stuck in the middle of it, and there are no medics anywhere in the frame. Whatever happened here, the crowd wanted out, and the crowd could not get out. Move back! Everybody move back! Beside the tape, an officer is shouting at the people trying to press closer. What we're seeing here is genuinely horrific, the reporter says, and the professional calm doesn't quite hold. The cause is still unclear at this hour. Let's speak with someone who is inside. He sees an injured man come walking out of the smoke, and he takes the camera operator toward him. Sir, excuse me, can you tell us what? A shout goes up and stops. The frame swings, hard spins, and keeps spinning. Whatever took the reporter has taken the operator behind him. When the camera lands, everyone watching sees the reporter pinned under the man who came out of the smoke. And then something goes across the lens. And then there's no lens. Signal gone. The interview is over. In apartments across the city, people who were eating breakfast in front of the news are still looking at the screen. Sable regards the dead local feed and raises an eyebrow. Good thing she pulled out when she did. Any later, and none of it would have been so clean. She turns the remote over in her fingers and changes the channel. State affiliate. The state affiliate is running a segment prepared in advance. The newest information is always the slowest to arrive. The local station managed a live feed from the scene, and the affiliate hasn't reacted at all. An economics package finishes, and the anchor is still smiling as he delivers the advisory about the flu. Case numbers are still climbing this week, and we're asking everyone to limit unnecessary outings and reduce the risk of cross-infection. Then, someone comes onto the set at a run, and everything about him is wrong. He goes down across the anchor's desk and doesn't move again. The professional composure on the anchor's face opens up into something else. Confusion first, then the other thing. He looks off toward the director's booth, and whatever he sees there fills his eyes completely. Director, cut to. He doesn't finish it into the earpiece. The man across his desk comes up off it. A sound cut short, then a tone. The affiliate goes to signal loss. It happens to station after station. Some early, some late. Early means so early there was never a feed at all, only static. Late means the audience watches it live. Today, every institution in the country goes down in sequence. Sable runs the channels. Everything is black except a handful of stations that had scheduled cartoons and drama reruns loaded in advance. Still playing to nobody. And then, one by one, every dead channel routes to the national broadcast. A single line of black text comes up on the screen. Emergency alert. Widespread attacks are occurring nationwide. All citizens remain indoors. All schools and universities closed. All retail closed. Secure all doors and windows. Await rescue. Await rescue. Await rescue. The national broadcast cuts every feed it has and pushes the alert out on all of them. 3 times that last line. Sable knows this screen well. In her past life, when the collapse broke, the same alert went out, and in the beginning, everyone believed it. Nobody questioned a word. Everyone felt certain this thing would be contained soon. It was a devastating thing to believe, because the virus cannot be removed. Seal everything put down. Everyone infected, down to the ones with the lightest wound. And there is no other method. There never was one. By the time the people at the top understood that, the outbreak had already run its full course. Rescue was abandoned wholesale. Every region was told to save itself. And then, the bulletins stopped entirely. Everyone on their own. The apparatus of the state simply dissolved. By the time the population caught up to it, the food in their homes was gone. Nobody was ever coming with a delivery again. That was when people understood the collapse had actually started. They would have to go and find supplies themselves. The scramble. In her past life, Sable was comparatively lucky because she saw it turn inside the hospital where it started. She understood what the virus was. And after she got her sister-in-law home, she made the Harts seal the apartment and open nothing. That is the only reason they lived through the first wave. For 3 days and 3 nights, the building she lived in screamed. Every household that cracked a door or a window was taken entirely. Then people worked out a rule: stay quiet, stay sealed, and the infected mostly pass you by, and while everyone else was surviving by inches. Sable decided to go out for supplies. Their attack capability was still low then, and most people hadn't caught up. Everyone was folded up inside their apartments, not moving. So Sable armored herself, covered every inch of skin, took a weapon, and went carefully down to the market beneath her own building. Nothing happened on the way. She came back clean, except that when she got back, the Harts didn't want to open the door because they were worried Sable had turned. It was Kaiser who did it, standing inside that door barking and not stopping, and pulling more of them toward the building with every second, until the Harts got frightened enough of what was collecting outside to let her in. Once they'd confirmed she wasn't wounded and seen what she was carrying, every face in that room changed, and they came around her with their hands out. At the time, Sable still thought of them as family. They soothed her for a minute or two, apologized to her for a minute or two, and she let it go. Divided the supplies among them, and taught them everything she knew about handling the infected, while everyone else was still too frightened to move. She took Brett and his father out with her again and again, and moved supplies home. The other households had run dry long before. They watched what Sable was doing, and began one after another to copy it, and the collapse entered its second stage. The scramble. Inside a week, the market under their building was picked to the walls. An enormous number of residents died doing it. Through all of it, Sable stayed careful. She fought off several groups of neighbors who came to their door asking, and she kept the Harts covered right up until the convoy came. Third stage, the airlift. She heard it on the radio, and she made the decision immediately. Get the whole family to the evac point ahead of the crowd. Not one of the Harts wanted to go. They felt that with Sable there, sitting in the apartment, was perfectly safe. And after all, the radio only said a relief convoy was coming. It did not say they'd drive to your door. There was one narrow route out. They named a handful of comparatively secure areas and told people to gather there. The convoy would come through and take them out, which meant crossing the city. And when the Harts worked out how far the nearest evac point was, they dug in hard. What if something happened on the way? They had an elderly woman and a pregnant woman. Sable talked them around gently, over and over. Don't trade the whole thing for how safe today feels. Only the evac point is actually safe. There'll be rations there, distributed by the government. Brett's wife could have the baby somewhere with walls. Edna would have somewhere to sit down. And the thing Sable was most certain of, this would not last. Take it now, or nobody will ever come back for you. Every prediction she made was correct. They arrived in time for the last convoy, and the last convoy was the only one. Later, the city was written off entirely. Too many of the infected. Nowhere to put anyone. All you could do was pull out a group of people and mark somewhere defensible. A settlement is where people gather to hold a line, and that becomes the whole shape of the late collapse. Fourth stage, the settlements. And getting in early was enormous luck. In the beginning, there were free rations and free housing. Later, everyone who wanted through the gate handed over everything they were carrying, and then found their own corner to sleep in. The later you came, the worse it was. So Sable read all of it correctly. Every step. The one thing she got wrong was believing the Harts were her family. She bent over backwards for those people, and at the end, they threw her to the wolves to buy themselves a gap in the line. In the instant she went off that truck, Sable woke all the way up. A person has to learn to love herself and grow up and never, ever ask for something that was never hers. Family was a thing she made up. She came out of that alive somehow and drifted to a different settlement. And by then, she was a different person. She never loved anyone again and never let anyone love her. And the coldness went into the bone. In the 5th stage of the collapse, the awakening, when the gift rose, she became the only watch captain in her settlement without one. She held her ground as an ordinary human in a company of the gifted, and she stayed at the top of it year after year. Everyone understood that if Sable Hart had ever manifested even a minor gift, the watch would have been the least of it. The whole settlement would have been hers. Her strength was in her. But late in the collapse, holding a line against the infected got harder every season, and the settlements tangled around each other like knotted thread. The more people in a place, the more of everything else, and Sable was lost defending her settlement against a horde. Enough. It's not like I'm going to somebody else's settlement anyway. Sable rubs the space between her brows. She comes back out of it. A settlement was never somewhere a person could put her weight down. In the early days, there were no rules worth the name, and everything grew however it liked. And it was never a haven for ordinary people. It was dog eat dog. Only a handful of settlements were genuinely good, places where people could live something close to a life. Sable had a reputation as ruthless, which is the only reason she climbed to a place where nobody touched her. You could not survive there without it. This is my settlement. She looks at the shelter she built, and there's a light in it. She wants this place stronger. She wants it stronger every day. She flips through the remaining channels, confirms that every feed is down and there's nothing useful anywhere, and gets up to keep fortifying. Because she remembers clearly that the reward window on the base is still open. Fed and watered Sable takes Kaiser out to the plot beside the garden. She marks out a section and builds a rough coop out of the branches and dry timber she's been collecting. When it's up, she lifts a hand, and 20-odd chickens and ducks come out into it. She sets a separate pen and puts the 2 goat kids in. Ping livestock recognized. Poultry and goats. Reward livestock fertility and health raised to maximum. Immune to all disease. Sable stares. She watches a hen fuss her way back and forth across the run, and then produce an egg right in front of her, still steaming in the morning air. Golden goose. Keep going. Sable finds an open patch by the orchard, checking the water first close to her well on the low ground, and starts digging a pond. Digging a pond is labor. She digs alone for a full day, and by the end, there's a square pond in the ground. Not small, not large. With the hollow finished, she cuts a channel down from the well, and the moment it connects, the water comes through it in a rush. When the pond fills, she lifts a hand and puts the fish and the shrimp in. To keep the shrimp from being eaten out entirely, she partitions it. Fish on one side, shrimp on the other. Ping. Fish pond and shrimp pond detected. Reward fish and shrimp fertility and health raised to maximum. Immune to all disease. Sable had been quietly worried about this part. Aquaculture takes skill. She thought she'd kill them. The warden simply removed the problem. Having a system is extraordinary. All she has to do is go forward. It handles the rest. With the fish, the shrimp, the poultry, and the goats all housed, Sable makes time to fortify again. In her past life, she was a watch captain, and she knows perimeter construction thoroughly. Her baseline defense is finished. High voltage fencing, razor edge, the heavy steel gate. The shelter's own defensive structure. What she needs now is something offensive. She can't get her hands on anything heavy, but she can dig. She leaves Kaiser on the house and starts setting traps in the woods 500 yards out from the wire. If someone comes falling into one, is a warning in itself. It tells them to leave. Sable spends a full day digging 10 pit traps, working out every approach a person could reasonably take, and putting them on the ground they'd have to cross. When the last one is finished, the voice arrives. Ping, pit traps recognized. Quantity 10. Reward trap lethality increased 100-fold. She doesn't have time to enjoy it before it speaks again. Ping. Baseline base defense complete. Initiating grade assessment. Baseline perimeter security complete. Baseline storage complete. Baseline power generation complete. Baseline sustainable farm and livestock output complete. Baseline combat capability configuration 1 war dog present. Completion rate 50%. Reward grade A cash. Congratulations. Base security raised to 100%. 1 precision crossbow tower. 10 quivers of bolts, 1 advanced high-capability armored personnel carrier, 1,000 tons of diesel fuel. As the reward lands, her base changes again. The wire and the electrified gate shift a second time, twice as tall, twice as heavy. Standing in front of it does something to a person. Above her shelter, a tower rises where there was no tower. And inside her vault, there are now 1,000 tons of fuel and 1 extremely beautiful armored vehicle. Sable takes the APC out first. It's enormous, painted in camouflage. And under the sun, the steel of it reads cold and absolutely unbothered. She's up into it immediately. In her past life, she drove plenty of military vehicles. She knows APCs. She has never in her life driven one this good. Cross-country capability and protection both extreme, with fire support. A small caliber flame turret mounted on top, and both the engine and the turret run directly off fuel. The tires have been reinforced past what tracked plate could give it, and the responsiveness and speed have doubled on top of that. The hull is 100 times stronger than a standard APC's. There are hidden plates seated all around the body, and 1 button in the cab brings a set of hardened spines up over the entire vehicle. Sable could drive this straight through a horde and not think about it. The strongest, most advanced APC there is. Nothing on any market compares. Good girl. She takes it out for a lap, learns every function on it, and gets down again with real reluctance. Off the vehicle, she goes straight to her tower. A staircase has opened inside the shelter, running up to a 2nd level. Sable climbs it and steps into the precision crossbow tower, the Warden's newest gift. 8 long apertures make a perfect ring of firing slits, covering everything inside a 1,000-yard radius of her shelter. At the center sits a fine crossbow on a 360-degree mount, with 10 quivers stacked beside it, each holding 100 barbed wooden bolts. Sable seats 1, lifts the crossbow, and sights on a bird crossing her airspace. The bolt goes. A bird perched at the edge of the shelter drops. The instant the sound reaches it, Sable takes Kaiser out to where it fell. It's on the ground and already still. The bolt driven the whole way through it, almost silent. Penetration like that. Perfect weapon for this. It takes real effort to work the bolt back out. These are sustainable resources. They get reused and they get looked after. Sable heads back with Kaiser satisfied, looking at how solid the place has become. She thinks back to the assessment and to the fact that all she got was a grade A cash. If the completion rate went higher, would the reward go higher with it? And she thinks about the gap. Baseline combat capability configuration, 50%, because she has 1 dog, which means she doesn't have enough dogs. She's going to have to find some. Kaiser, come on, dinner! He barks and comes. Sable takes him back into her fully upgraded shelter. 1 woman and 1 dog eat extremely well. And then Sable gets online. Day 3 of the collapse. The internet is still here. Once it broke, the city's water went first. Bodies in the filtration reservoirs. The supply contaminated inside, days. Power lasts longer. Smaller cities with incomplete grids lose it immediately. Places with real infrastructure hold anywhere from 1 to 6 months. Sable remembers that Anvil City held for 3, and when the power goes, the internet goes with it. Late on, of course, nobody is online at all. But the people still alive in these first days have supplies. And water, and food, and they're sitting in their apartments with nothing to do except this. In a week when the water and the food run out, none of them will have the heart for it. Help! I'm locked in my bedroom! And my parents are throwing themselves at the door. I haven't eaten or had water in 3 days. I just finished the last Coke in here. Somebody help me! Does anyone know who lives in A101 at Crestview? My girlfriend's been out of contact for 3 days. I just need to know if she's okay. The last of our water is gone. We still have some snacks, but there's no water. What do you do when there's no water? Weren't they supposed to send rescue? It's been 3 days. Where is anybody? Day 3 of the collapse. The hallway outside doesn't stop howling. The fridge is basically empty. Dad wants me to go out and find food for my little sister and brother. He said if I won't go, he'll put me out. I'm the oldest, so I should be the one contributing. They're kids and elderly, it's on me. Wish me luck, everyone. Come on, Lena. Sable is reading through all of it when a post from a girl called a girl, whose handle is Forever Clear Skies, catches her. She opens the profile. She's been posting her life on here since long before any of this. And Sable notes that she lost her mother young. Father remarried. The stepmother produced a sister and a brother in short order, and she became invisible in her own house. Their luck hasn't been bad. Sealed in, they've avoided the worst of it. But the food ran out fast. At a moment like that, does anyone need to think very hard about what happens next? Obviously, they push her out the door, sold out by her own family, and still bright enough about it to sign off with an exclamation point. Astonishingly stupid. Sable sees that the latest post went up 5 minutes ago and types a line onto the screen. Armor first. Thickest, toughest clothing in the house. Wrap arms and legs with tape, 3 passes each. Helmet on, take 1 bag, and pick your route before you leave. Target the nearest convenience store and nowhere else. If there's a shovel in the house or a baseball bat, that's your weapon. If not, take a bed slat. Don't take a knife won't put one down. And once it's in, you're not getting it out. If you meet one, go for the head. The head is the weak point. Don't be afraid of them. It's still early. Get past the fear, and you can beat them. Sable hits send on the last line. Maybe because she can see the shape of her own past life in this girl. Sable is generous with her. Whether the girl listens or ever even reads it is her own business. With that, sent. Sable starts training. She wants this body at its ceiling inside the next few days. She's into the first set when something chimes behind her eyes. Ping Warden System open. 10-day window. Rewards will be issued for increases in the host's combat capability. Final reward determined by completion ranking. Sable stares at nothing. Then she goes at it harder. She wants 100% on this one. She runs a military-grade conditioning block inside her shelter at an intensity that isn't reasonable. 354, 355, 356, 360. Sable finishes 360 push-ups soaked through. Locking out that last one, she feels like she's coming apart into pieces. Nothing left. The body wrung out entirely, and in the same instant as the ringing, she can feel her limits going down, one after another. She's improving. She's getting stronger. The habit came from Knox, the most loyal man she ever had. Back at the settlement, he'd been a soldier. When the collapse broke, he came into Anvil City on a relief operation, and somewhere in that operation, his command abandoned them. Some of his unit died, and the rest scattered, and he came alone into Sable's settlement. Sable was the one who pulled him out. He was serious to the point of silence and did what he was told, and he was the sharpest blade she owned. Plenty of captains tried to buy him off her. He wouldn't go. Perhaps that's simply what soldiers are. Once he'd chosen Sable, he wasn't going to be moved. Later, in a horde assault, he was lost in front of her. Training done. Sable thinks about all of it. Her track has changed, though. Perhaps none of those people and none of those things are coming back this time. A person should know when she has enough. This life, she has Kaiser, and that's enough. She drags herself into the shower and on the way starts rice in the cooker and puts 10 meal pouches through the microwave. Then 5 eggs in a pan until the whole shelter smells like it. Clean, she carries all of it to the table, opens a Coke, sets the rice pot in her lap, and eats in front of the computer. She burned enormous amounts today. She has to eat more. She has supplies past counting, and eggs coming in daily, and chicken and fish on the way. She eats whatever she likes. She's about to look for something to watch when she sees replies waiting under the thread. I did what you said. I went out through the back garden, the way nobody in our complex ever uses. And there was nothing on that whole path. I made it into the convenience store. I had to put down 3 of them, and I was so scared, I nearly died. But it was fine, there was nobody inside. I got a whole bag filled up heading home now. Thank you so much, Summer. Sable reads the name, and something moves at the corner of her mouth. Her handle on here is Summer. The girl has decided she's talking to a man. She thinks about it, finds the direct message link, and answers privately. Don't go home. Barricade the store's front door and stay in the stockroom. There's water in there, and food, and convenience stores generally sit in decent positions. The virus broke at dawn. The number on the streets looks enormous and isn't yet. The thing to get away from in the collapse is people, not the infected. Block the front, live in that cramped little stockroom with food and water in arm's reach. And when the convoy comes, she'll be in the first group out. The residential complex is the actual danger. Enormous numbers of them are folded into the corners of a complex like that. And the moment residents start going out for supplies, that building faces a wave. Getting out and away from the crowd is what safe means. Sable's message doesn't get an answer. She's probably already walking. If she's lucky, she gets home. If she isn't, she dies on the road. Sable doesn't think about it any further. She finds something light to watch and eats. And while it plays, she downloads everything. Every film, every series, every book she can pull down. Later, all of it comes with dinner. Afterward, she walks it off. Takes Kaiser out for a circuit of the base. Checks the poultry and the vegetables and the goats. Then she trains again. She trains until late, and when there's nothing left in her, she sleeps. Early the next morning, coming out of the first block, she can feel the difference in her strength and her stamina. Every muscle she owns hurts. She gets through the whole session anyway, and only then showers and cooks. Another enormous bowl of rice. Except today, it's roast chicken and a pot of army stew. All of it swept out of the supermarket. Sitting in her vault, none of it has changed at all. Add water, plug it in, and there's an army stew big enough to feed a room. Beef balls, small shrimp and large. Fish balls. Chicken balls, enoki and oyster and shiitake mushrooms, seasonal vegetables in quantity and variety. It's a 4-person pot. Sable eats all of it, plus fried eggs. The eggs came out of her own coop this morning. She checked on her way past. The run is producing about 20 a day now. Whatever she doesn't eat, she leaves under the hens to hatch. And later, when there's more of everything, into the cold vault. She works through a drinkable yogurt at her own pace for the digestion. And then she'll train some more to burn it off. Who else on this earth this morning is living like this. Everyone out there is short of food, and Sable has to exercise to make room for the next meal. She kills the film halfway through it isn't holding her, and takes a pass through the forum, and finds that her comment has detonated. In one day, it has taken over 10,000 likes. And there's a crowd underneath calling her boss and asking for more. Somebody is asking whether she's connected to all this, because how else would she know it in that much detail? Sable ignores all of it. The only thing she looks at is that the girl has sent her another message. Summer, I got home safe. Thank you. Sable's eyebrow goes up, so she went back after all. Sable doesn't reply, and then she sees a new post go up. Day 4 of the collapse, 6:55 a.m. Thanks to what Summer taught me yesterday, I got food and made it home. I got 20 packs of instant noodles, a gallon jug of water, 10 packs of bread, 5 packs of sausage, and 7 chocolate bars. Dad and my stepmom both said I did really well. My brother said if he'd gone out, he'd have brought back way more than me, and that I only grabbed the cheap stuff. 7:30 a.m. This is bad. My brother is dead set on going out now, and Dad wants me to go with him. I don't know what to say. It's genuinely dangerous out there. I don't want to go again. 7:42 a.m. Going back out, Dad says to take advantage of it, while there are still fewer people around, and bring back more. And to take my brother so we can carry double. Heading out now. Wish me luck, everyone. Sable reads all 3 in a row. The comments underneath have detonated, too. People praising her, people cursing her brother, people asking her for tips. Sable skims it, and the girl has sent her a whole run of private messages that she doesn't answer. She bookmarks the thread. Think of it as watching a live stream. Then she goes back to training. 10 days on this window. She's taking every minute of it. She runs her distance around the perimeter as usual, which warms her up and lets her walk her own ground, checking for anything out of place, checking whether the traps have been disturbed. Nothing. She goes back inside and trains. Every movement worked to its ceiling. Inside 3 minutes, she's wet through. 5 minutes in, she's soaked from the hair down. And every muscle in her is complaining loudly enough that the limit feels like it's arriving. Break it, break it, break it. In every single set, Sable holds 1 second longer. What saves her is that the programming is the most scientific and efficient she knows, and that she's spacing the recovery correctly, so she never runs herself into the ground. And in the middle of that near-monastic, faintly unreasonable regimen, her capacity climbs visibly. 5 hours of it. Then, as always, a warm shower, and the rice cooker in her lap with 10 meal pouches beside it. What goes out has to come in. Eat more, burn more. All of it becoming a body that works. This time, the moment Sable wakes the computer, the bookmarked thread has updated. 1 minute ago, I'm losing my mind. I got him home. I got him all the way home. And he nearly got me killed about 4 separate times on the way. And it was fine. That road didn't have many of them. We made it. And then we got inside and he's hurt. He wouldn't say anything. My sister spotted his finger going dark. And only then did he admit one of them caught him with a nail. What do I do? There's a photo under the post. The skin of the boy's finger broken open, dark purple spreading through it. The replies come fast, and they all say the same thing. He's going to turn. Put him out. Sable sends a reply too. End it. Now. An answer comes back almost immediately. Summer, you're back. I showed Dad and my stepmom what everyone was saying, and they cut his finger off. They said the wound was small, so it'll be fine. Reading that, Sable would very much like to say something unkind. Get out of that apartment. Now. Nothing comes back. Sable sits with the spoon in her hand and watches the screen for about 15 minutes, until the food in front of her has gone cold, and nothing comes back. Turn time runs 1 to 10 minutes. The weak go in about a minute. The strong, the ones with something to hold on to, can last the full 10. And the method of cutting off whatever got bitten is simply a joke. The virus goes into the blood first and saturates the body from there. It doesn't leave anyone an opening. Sable can more or less see how it ends for that girl. The boy's breathing will start coming faster. Then the color will go out of him. Then the shaking. And then 10 seconds of nothing at all. Ended in those 10 seconds, and that family lives. But a father who was never fair to her, and a stepmother who loves that boy, are never going to let her put a hand on him. And in the 10 seconds they spend deciding they'll follow him down, Sable shakes her head, closes the forum, and finds something light and domestic to eat in front of. It isn't that she didn't help. If the girl had listened at any point, stayed in that convenience store, cut herself loose from those people, or simply had it in her to end her brother, none of this would be happening. But that's 99% of everyone. They can't get out from under the thing that's holding them, and however much they hate it, they step into their own fire without hesitating. Stupid. The way Sable was stupid in her past life. At least this time, she won't walk the same road twice. Anyone who comes for her, she ends. Do what she wants, however she wants. In the collapse, live as herself. Sable stops reading, finishes eating, and goes back to training. Digestive work first, until her stomach settles and stops sitting heavy. And then the heavy conditioning. 7 more days go past like that. Sable's entire content for those days is training, showering, eating, training. Out of 24 hours, she spends 18 on it. And the programming is precise and professional enough. But the more she does, the sharper she gets. The change in her body is visible. She used to be blowing after 6 miles. Now her color doesn't change, and her heart rate barely moves. Her strength has doubled. She used to be able to carry 100 pounds of rice. She lifts it one-handed now. Her combat skill is back where it was, and with nothing in her hands at all. She could put down 5 grown men at once. With a weapon, 1 strike each. Today's session finished, Sable settles in with braised beef and starts working through it. She took some of the 500 pounds of fresh beef she laid in before the collapse, put it in the pressure cooker with the full run of aromatics, and cooked it until it went soft and took the seasoning all the way through. Out-cooled, sliced, dipped in sauce. Fresh beef braised properly is extraordinary. Her palate has been getting worse and worse these past days. She doesn't want the pouches or the ramen or the fast food anymore. There's fresh food sitting right there. Who wants the emergency stuff? Sable has enough supplies that one person eating well isn't a question. She eats the braised beef and cooks a whole pot of beef for Kaiser at the same time. Nothing added, a little salt, whatever she eats, he eats. 1 woman and 1 dog sealed into a base, eating extremely well. Outside, everything has already changed. Day 10 of the collapse. And it isn't the first days anymore. The rescue bulletins on the radio have stopped. Every government announcement has stopped. The panic and the empty cupboards have both bottomed out. For days now, people have been going out to find food. Starve or go out and be taken. Push someone far enough, and the infected stop being as frightening as they were. But after that wave, the numbers in the city start climbing hard. Very few of the people who go out come back. 9 in 10. That's the rate. Because the fear and the inexperience of those first days left everyone unable to face them directly. They're on every side of every street. They come at you from where you weren't looking. And if you meet a group of them while you're carrying food, you become the meal. And the numbers keep climbing, and the ones outside have been starving exactly as long as the ones inside. Starving, they start moving hard into wherever people still are, which looks like this. My door is not going to hold. They've been getting louder for days, and they hit it every single day. I've stacked everything I own against it. I've been locked in the back room this whole time. How do they still know I'm here? I have a lot of food in here. Someone come get me. I'll trade all of it. Sable watches a young man, not bad looking, asking for help on a live stream. He's probably a food streamer. That would explain it. A large volume of product sent to him by sponsors, plus everything he buys himself to review. His stock is genuinely good. And he never went out much, which is most of the reason he's alive at all. The one piece of bad luck is that he rents in a micro-unit building. Almost everyone on his floor has turned. They've been drifting outside his door for days. And after several days of pure fear, he did what the comments told him. Reinforced, the door moved to the innermost room, cut down whatever scent he was giving off. And now all he can hear is that it's getting louder. Like every one of them in the building has come to stand outside his door, not long after he posts asking for help. A trainer who lives in the same building answers him. I can get you out. Half your food. Done. The streamer types fast. How, though? I'm directly above you. I'll drop a rope past your window. Grab it and I'll pull you up. Okay, he starts packing immediately and mounts the camera on his head so everyone can watch. He opens everything: ramen, jerky, self-heating meals, water, and the man upstairs tells him to tie the food on first and send it up. Then climb after it. The streamer says it straight into the lens. I'm not stupid. If I send the food up first, and then he doesn't pull me up, what then? So he straps every supply he can carry onto his own body. And that's when he hears the front door start to go. The frame cracks. Move. Coming. He looks back once, and the front door is already open, and they're coming through it in numbers. Gray-black from head to foot, some of them opened up, dragging things behind them that don't belong on the outside. Skin gone brown and dark and pulled tight over the skull until there's nothing left that reads as a face. 10 days starving, and they come at him. Look at that, and whose legs would hold. He gets the thin bedroom door shut behind him and goes out onto the balcony. You have to get me up. He takes hold of the rope, and the second he has it, he understands he's carrying far too much. You're too heavy. The trainer above takes the full weight and nearly goes over the rail with it. There's still time. Put the food down. Send the food up first. Then drop some of it. The streamer says nothing and throws his water off. Not enough. I haven't eaten in days. There's nothing in my arms. Throw more. So he reports it to the camera. What kind of personal trainer is this guy? If I throw it away, what am I supposed to eat? He throws a few more things off, and by the time the man above has barely got hold of his weight, the bedroom door goes too. Pull me up! Pull me up! He's hanging in open air. Hook the food onto the frame beside you. I'll bring you up first and the food after. You first. No. The food comes up with me. God knows whether the man lets go the second he hasn't got a reason. In this world, food is the length of your life. You have to trust me or you are not getting up here. The streamer hesitates. And before the hesitation is finished, something dry closes around his ankle. He thrashes, kicking down at it. And the pain and the fear put him a foot higher up the rope. I genuinely cannot lift you. I'll give you the food. You can have the food. He's decided finally to let it go. And it's too late. They have his scent now. And the ones inside come at the window and start pouring out over the sill. Some of them going straight down past him. Some of them catching hold of whatever's in reach. Behind them, the rest come on over their own. A wave breaking upward out of that building, all of it reaching for a man hanging in open air. Something opens his skin. Then one of them takes a leg and doesn't let go. And the streamer's own kick does the rest. A scream goes down the side of the building. After the first leg, they have the second. And the weight of him does what the weight of him was always going to do. The noise and what's in the air below drives everything down there past thinking. And the ones on the lower floors start converging, all of them pushing forward. Eat, eat, eat. The trainer on the floor above looks at what's underneath him and stops caring about food. He opens his hand, and in the moment, the streamer drops. The ones on the wall and the ones at the windows go down after him like dogs following meat. He lands, and the wave closes over the place he landed. It doesn't take long. Sable is watching that stream when the screen goes. Ping! Signal lost. Not because the footage got flagged for what was in it, because the server went down. The city grid is up. The internet is up, but servers all over the country are going dark at the same time. The small ones run out of somebody's apartment or an office. Died in the first days. Larger companies can hold a while without anyone touching them. But this platform, this one, is finished, which means the friendly part of the internet is closing. In a while, there won't be anyone left online venting anything. They're going to have to face this. Sable closes the site and opens the library she pulled down. Good thing she took everything she could find. Living out here alone, she can open that folder any night she likes. Dinner finished, she's about to pause a film halfway through when the monitor starts pinging an alert. She's at the console immediately. Every camera she owns feeds this machine. Among all those panels, one small one in the corner, easy to miss, is flashing. Sable looks at it and goes still for a second. It's the drop. The day the collapse broke, she pulled every supply out of that storage house, took Kaiser, and left, and forgot to take the camera down. The feed is showing the front of her storage house being opened. The cameras she bought were good ones, so she can hear them talking. That woman came to me about a few weeks back wanting storage. And for a while there, I watched delivery trucks running in and out of this place non-stop. There's supplies in there, guaranteed. You leased it to her, though. Isn't breaking in illegal? Do you hear yourself illegal? Look around you. Gus is already moving. Get in there. He's right. If she's got something, she can share it out. The door goes. Sable's storage house comes open, and Gus leads a crowd of them through it fast. Then they're inside and looking, and every one of them stops. There's nothing here. Gus. This is the place stacked to the walls. Supplies everywhere, you said. Gus stares into an empty building. There isn't a sack on the floor. That's not possible. I saw it. Trucks in here every day for a week, and she only came by a couple of times a day. How does one person move all of it out? You saw wrong, is what happened. A truck coming in doesn't mean it's leaving anything. If it was a couple of parcels, she carried them off herself. Rotten luck. We came all the way out here watching our backs for this? They go out the way they came in. Loud about it. Gus is the angriest of them. And on his way out, he looks up at the camera Sable left behind and puts a stick through it. Ping! One of Sable's cameras stops existing. Watching that, Sable lets herself go back into the chair in a very good mood. She knew people would come for her eventually, which is exactly why she leased a storage house in the first place. Once the collapse broke, the worst of what's in people was going to wake all the way up. And if too many of them knew where her base was, somebody would come. Better safe than sorry. Watching them go home, furious. She feels privately very lucky and very pleased. Except she holds a grudge. She always has. She's going to remember the old man who broke her camera. The next day, Sable has both elbows on the ground, legs together, toes down, everything through the core, every muscle in her body locked, and the sweat coming off her forehead is falling in beads. She's held it for close to an hour. Head to foot, she might as well have come out of the water. In 10 short days, eating 3 full bowls of rice, every single one of them. Sable has come down a size. Not the way losing weight comes down. The way a shape changes. She's leaner all the way through. The lines of the muscle sharp and readable. Body fat down, hard. And there's definition across her stomach now. Nothing soft or scattered left anywhere on her. What's there instead reads like something that could go off at any second.